On the day esports prodigy Lin Ci won the championship, he publicly declared his love on camera to the girl who had once bullied him. That same day, I received his breakup message. "Let's break up. Thank you for the 7 years you've given me, but she needs me more." He watched as my right hand, permanently disabled from saving him, hung limp and useless. The irony is just too much. Lin Ci's fans mistook me for an interloper and attacked me on the street, throwing eggs and acid. The day Lin Ci was bullied, I quietly closed the door and said, "Carry on." On stage, Lin Ci held the trophy, radiant and brilliant. As the host asked if he had anything to say, Lin Ci took the microphone, and before he even spoke, the deep affection in his eyes was already evident. A friend teased from the side, "Your Lin Ci is definitely going to confess to you." How romantic. I pursed my lips, smiling silently. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. Lin Ci and I have been together for 7 years. Before the competition, we made a pact. If he won the championship, he would propose to me. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Lin Ci's distinctive voice carried through the microphone to every corner of the room. "Thank you all for your support and trust. Above all, I want to thank one person. She gave me the courage to stand here and the determination to take on the world." My heart was pounding wildly, waiting in anticipation for him to call out my name. The person I want to thank is Han Miao, the girl I've loved for 10 years. I know she's here today, and I want to ask her, "Will you be my girlfriend?" 5. The audience erupted in cheers and shouts as the camera panned to the girl named Han Miao. My head was buzzing, my mind went blank, and my eyes were still fixed on the message Lin Ci had sent. "Let's break up. Thank you for everything you've done for me these past 7 years. But Han Miao needs me more." Before I could even leave the hall, Lin Ci's fans recognized me and started shouting, "Everyone, look, Shenxi, the homewrecker, is here. He's the one who kept Lin Ci and his true love apart for 7 years. Let's get him, girls." The scene instantly descended into chaos. A sudden splash of unknown liquid hit my face, its searing heat nearly making me pass out. "Cici," my friend screamed from a distance, eyes wide with horror. And only then did I realize I'd been shoved onto the busy road. The distant truck blared its horn relentlessly, as if the driver was mashing it to pieces. As I was sent flying, I saw Lin Ci and Han Miao standing on the platform, locked in an embrace and kissing. How romantic. I didn't even get the chance to ask why they would do this to me. When I opened my eyes again, the crazed fans were gone, replaced by a lush green campus and the distant, echoing sound of recitations. I looked down and saw I was still wearing the blue and white school uniform. I immediately pulled out my phone to check the time. September 18th, 2013. Did I just get reborn back to my senior year of high school? At this point, my hand hadn't been ruined from saving Lin Ci yet. What incredibly good news. In my past life, just a month before my art school entrance exam, I rushed to defend Lin Ci when he was being bullied. A thick iron rod, as big as an arm, came crashing down on my right hand. From then on, I could no longer hold a paintbrush, and my dream slipped through my fingers. The class bell rang, leaving no time to overthink. Following the memory in my mind, I walked back to the classroom. Just as I sat down, the homeroom teacher came in with a girl whose hair was dyed in vibrant colors. "This is our new classmate, Han Miao. Let's give her a warm welcome." Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at Lin Ci and noticed his eyes lighting up slightly. So it turned out he had fallen in love with Han Miao at first sight. 5. Han Miao transferred here during senior year. Rumor has it she got into trouble at her previous school, and her family paid a hefty sum to get her into ours. It didn't take long for Han Miao to gather a crew of followers around her. Thanks to her lavish spending, she would soon become one of the main instigators in bullying Lin Ci. I just can't wrap my head around why Lin Ci would fall for the girl who bullied him. Just like in her previous life, Han Miao quickly became the talk of the school after transferring. She was strikingly beautiful, with a rebellious personality and a lavish spending habit. Rumor had it that those around her received hundreds in tips every single day. At this point, Lin Ci hadn't shown much interest in Han Miao yet. "Shenxi, don't you also dislike that new transfer student, Han Miao, or whatever? A high school student being so flashy, shouldn't students focus on studying instead?" After being reborn, I've been trying really hard to keep my distance from Lin Ci. Unfortunately, our families are neighbors and our parents are really close, so whenever he comes around, I can only respond with a few cold remarks. I suddenly looked up at Lin Ci standing before me and realized that while he was badmouthing Han Miao, his eyes were practically glued to her. "Lin Ci, you like Han Miao, don't you?" I asked casually, keeping my head down as I worked on the problem. He got so flustered that he started stammering, Who would ever like someone like her? Then he turned and fled in a panic. I gave a cold smile. This time, I won't cover for you, Lin CI. Can you still become the esports prodigy you were in your past life? 5. Perhaps because I had exposed the dark thoughts in Lin Ci's mind, he finally stopped clinging to me, but after that, I would often see Lin CI limping out of the school's grove, bruised and battered, occasionally when I ran into him. He would look at me with a face full of hope. I just turned away and pretended like nothing happened. In his previous life, Lin CI was able to pursue esports with such determination, and I'll proudly say I played a big part in that. When he first entered the esports scene, he didn't even have a single fan. I got my friends to create over a dozen alt accounts, and every time he went live, I'd switch between them to cheer him on in his stream. When he signed that predatory contract with a shady company, I was the one running around finding lawyers to fight his legal battles. Every time Lin CI wanted to give up on his dreams because of reality, I was there working behind the scenes to handle his practical worries. Maybe he just saw all this as me patting myself on the back. Han Miao's simple "you got this" probably meant more to him than any of my efforts. The one thing I can't wrap my head around is how I got acid thrown at me the moment I stepped out, right after Lin CI won the championship. It all seems too perfectly timed, as if it was premeditated. Too bad it's all in the past now. I might never get the answers in this lifetime. After I deliberately distanced myself from Lin CI, he became Han Miao's target for bullying. During PE class that day, the teacher asked me to go back to the classroom to get the attendance sheet. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Han Miao and her lackeys pinning Lin CI to the ground. Lin CI looked at me with desperate hope in his eyes, begging me to save him from this misery. Han Miao and the others turned their gaze toward me, their eyes warning that if I meddled, I'd regret it. Everyone knew how close Lin CI and I were. We were what people called childhood sweethearts. I walked past them to the podium, found the attendance sheet the teacher wanted, and without hesitation turned to leave. Carry on. The moment the door closed, Lin Ci's eyes were filled with disappointment and shock directed at me. He let out several agonizing screams right after. I understand. I hurried away, afraid of getting implicated, and accidentally bumped into Pei Xiu at the hallway corner. If Han Miao is the queen of school bullies, then Pei Xiu is the king of kings among them. If you mess with Han Miao, you might get beaten up. But if you cross Pei Xiu, even transferring schools won't save you. No one knows how this rumor started. I'm sorry, Pei, I apologized, looking at the guy in front of me. His uniform jacket hung loosely over his shoulders, a lollipop dangling from his lips. The wind tousled his bangs, and I could see my flustered reflection in his eyes. After a long moment, he reached out his hand. I instinctively closed my eyes. I only heard him chuckle softly. Classmate, am I really that scary? When I opened my eyes, he bent down to pick up the scattered documents and haphazardly shoved them into my arms. As we brushed past each other, I caught a faint scent of fresh grass on him. Unbeknownst to me, Han Miao was just about to rush out to look for me when she caught sight of the scene and quietly slipped back into the classroom instead. When I got home after school, Lin Ci's parents were already sitting in our living room. The atmosphere was tense and gloomy. Lin Ci, bruised and battered, endured everyone's concerned questions with a stony expression. The moment I stepped through the door, my father slammed his palm on the coffee table and glared at me furiously. Shinshi, come here. Judging by the situation, did Lin Ci tell on me to his parents? I walked over and asked what was wrong. Lin Ci's parents looked at me with disappointment. His mother said, Cici, we've always treated you well. Whatever Lin Ci had growing up, we made sure you had it too. Can you explain to us why you didn't report to the teacher when you saw him being bullied at school today? Look at what they did to him. I glanced at Lin Ci, who couldn't meet my eyes and hung his head low. My disgust for Lin Ci reached new heights at that moment. In our past life when he was being beaten, I wanted to report it to teachers and parents countless times, but Lin Ci would pull at me pitifully, saying, Cici, you can't tell the teachers. If you do, they'll beat me even worse. To protect Lin Ci, I had to stick by his side every single moment, but no matter how closely I watched over him, it was no match for Lin Ci's own insistence on putting himself in harm's way. Just the other day, I accidentally overheard Lin Ci talking to someone. You know, at our age, when someone picks on you or gives you a hard time, it's usually just their clumsy way of trying to get your attention because they like you. I felt like such a fool, stupidly ruining my own arm for his sake. This time, I brought up Lin Ci's explanation. I was slightly taken aback. Uncle, Auntie, it's not that I don't want to help Lin Ci. It's just that he himself said that when people bully him, it means they like him. Lin Ci's head snapped up, his eyes glinting like a venomous snake. Isn't that what you meant? Lin CI, my mistake then, let's call the police right now. I pulled out my phone to dial emergency services, but Lin CI strode over from the couch and slapped it out of my hand. We can't call the police. Lin Ci's eyes widened in alarm. If we do, her life will be ruined. No further explanation was needed. Everyone understood perfectly. Lin Ci had a crush on that person and was willing to put up with being bullied, but now they're trying to pin the blame on me. My parents didn't look pleased. Even if they watched the kid grow up, their own daughter comes first. This is a family matter. You should discuss it at home, my dad said, effectively showing them the door. Lin Ci's parents were clearly embarrassed and at a loss for words. They hurried Lin Ci away and left. After they left, my dad apologized for yelling at me earlier. Cece, I think Lin Ci is quite a scheming guy. You should keep your distance from him from now on. I felt the same way. With my parents' support, I could just go all out without worrying about the consequences. Who knows what Lin Ci told his parents after he got home, but they never called the police or reported it to the teachers. They really went out of their way to protect Han Miao. Time flew by swiftly. During the period when Lin Ci was being bullied by Han Miao, I kept dragging Mu Ting to study non-stop, hoping that in this lifetime, she could get into a good university. In my previous life, Mu Ting was the only one who stayed by my side till the end. I can only imagine how heartbroken she must have been after I passed away. This time, I finally managed to take the art entrance exam smoothly. Even though I hadn't touched a paintbrush in years, the moment I picked it up, I truly felt alive again. After the art exam, I continued to bury myself in hard work. I didn't let my decent exam results go to my head, because I know that in today's society, time moves fast. If you don't keep pushing yourself, even natural talent won't save you from being left behind. It wasn't until after yet another monthly exam that I suddenly realized, today might be the day Lin Ci's arm gets destroyed. I instinctively kept my distance from Lin Ci. He better not drag me into this. I have no interest in being part of his romantic drama. Shinshi, the homeroom teacher wants you to fetch a badminton racket from the equipment room for him. A classmate handed me the key to the equipment room. I didn't suspect anything, since our homeroom teacher really does love making students run errands. As I turned the knob to the equipment room door, a faint sense of unease crept over me. The room usually reeked of cheap paint, but today it carried the distinct scent of nicotine. Alarm bells went off in my head. I instinctively tried to back out, but someone shoved me from behind, and the door slammed shut. The lights flicked on abruptly, and the curtains were drawn tight. Not a sliver of the inside was visible from outside. As my eyes adjusted to the harsh lighting, the scene inside finally came into focus, led by Han Miao, whose rainbow-colored hair had been forcibly dyed black by the school. She leaned casually against the desk with one leg swinging idly in the air, a smirk playing on her lips. Well, if it isn't our class monitor Shinshi. I forced myself to stay calm, though this never happened in my previous life, probably a butterfly effect of my rebirth. I scanned the room and finally spotted Lin Ci curled up on the floor. I raised an eyebrow. What's this about? Han Miao jumped in front of me, lifting my chin with her hand like a total gangster queen. Lin Ci specifically asked us to call you here. He said you two grew up together and would definitely save him. My eyes turned icy cold without me even realizing it. Lin Ci really has some nerve. Even though I've been doing everything possible to stay away from him, he still drags me into his mess. What makes such a pathetic loser worth dying for? The more I think about it, the angrier I get. If the situation weren't so inappropriate, I'd slap him across the face right now. What I need to do now is to distance myself from Lin Ci. I won't. We're just neighbors. Nothing more. Do whatever you want. As I finished speaking, Lin Ci stared at me in shock, his lips trembling weakly before he gritted his teeth and shouted, Shinshi, haven't you always liked me? All eyes were on me, and I glanced at Lin Ci, finding him increasingly ridiculous. So he knew all along that I had feelings for him, pretending to be clueless while shamelessly enjoying all the kindness I gave him. You think you're worthy. Each word was sharp, dripping with conviction and contempt. Asterisk clap, clap, clap. Asterisk. Han Miao applauded mockingly, then turned and stomped her foot on Lin Ci's face. Didn't you say someone would come save you? Oh, Lin Ci, you really are pathetic. Lin Ci's eyes showed fear, but I caught a flicker of excitement in them. What a freak. Class monitor Shinshi, since you're already here, there's no way we're letting you leave just like that. Class president, just thinking about it gets me excited. I can't stand you teachers' pets. As they approached with clubs in hand, I backed away fearfully, already mentally preparing to protect my hands. Why hasn't that person shown up yet? You took the money but still didn't deliver. Totally unprofessional. just as Han Miao was about to bring the iron rod down. The equipment room door was kicked open, the boy appeared in the light, pausing for a moment before casting a cold glance at the group, right when everyone thought he was about to go on a rampage. 5. Teacher, they're here. The boy's furious shout completely shattered the image he had in their minds. Several teachers rushed in abruptly. Pei Xiu and I exchanged a glance, my silent question hanging in the air. Is this how you protect me? He guiltily rubbed the tip of his nose, turning away to avoid meeting my eyes. Truth is, no one knew that after our chance encounter in the hallway, I had sought him out in secret. Pei, I've heard people say you're not someone to be trifled with. Is that true? Pei Xiu was both annoyed and amused, unable to grasp my intention. So you came to see if I'm an easy target. The rooftop breeze gently stirred, carrying my words softly to his ears. No. I came to ask classmate Pei Xiu to protect me, to show my sincerity. I even slipped 100 yuan bill into his pocket. Here, this is for protection. I heard you're a tough fighter. You've got my back. Right. Pei Xiu must have been really hard up for cash. He just froze when he saw that 100 yuan. I actually felt guilty and wished I'd given him more. Since he didn't say anything, I took it as a yes. When I was called away today, I made sure to send someone to fetch Pei Xiu. I waited for him forever, and the guy actually showed up with a teacher in tow. But that's fine. It's not like I'm the one who should be scared anyway. In the office, Han Miao was getting chewed out by the teacher. Call your parents. Do you get a kick out of bullying your classmates? Think you can do whatever you want just because your family has money? Han Miao. Han Miao finally showed a flicker of emotion upon hearing about involving parents, her face betraying genuine fear. Please don't call my parents. Teacher, I'll pay for the damages. Lin Ci, how much do you want? Is 100,000 enough? Even the teacher couldn't help but gasp. That was more than their annual salary. I seriously suspect Lin Ci might actually be angling to become a kept man. Lin Ci had remained silent the whole time, but when Han Miao called his name, his ears turned faintly red. Teacher, there's no need to involve parents. Han Miao was just joking with me. Lin Ci, this isn't something to joke about lightly. Han Miao chimed in. Teacher, even Lin Ci knows I was just joking with him. Since the person involved doesn't mind, maybe you should just stay out of it. As Lin Ci remained silent in agreement, I finally spoke up. I've already called the police. At that, Lin Ci whipped around to glare at me. Shinshi, could you please mind your own business? The room fell completely silent as I looked at the teacher with pleading eyes. Teacher, I'm a victim too. Han Miao tricked me into going to the equipment room by pretending it was your request. If Pei Xiu hadn't shown up in time, I might have been beaten up. You always say we should say no to bullying. The teacher nodded in approval. Eventually not only did the police arrive, but parents showed up as well. The office was sparsely filled with people. My parents were the first to arrive after hearing the news. They held me close, examining me carefully, and only relaxed when they confirmed I wasn't injured. Teacher, even though my daughter wasn't hurt this time, we absolutely cannot let the perpetrator get away with this. My dad was adamant, but Lin Ci still tried to plead for Han Miao. Han Miao snapped back. Lin Ci, stop pretending. Wasn't it you who told me to trick Shinshi into coming here? You even said Shinshi had a crush on you and wouldn't dare report it to the teacher if you said something. Smack. Lin Ci's mother, trembling with anger, slapped him across the face. In the end, because Han Miao was a minor and Lin Ci refused to hold her accountable, insisting he had acted willingly, Han Miao and her group received a school-wide disciplinary notice and were placed on probation. Lin Ci was also given a major demerit for instigation. After the incident, Pei Xiu shamelessly insisted I treat him to a meal. If I hadn't shown up in time, you might have gotten beaten up. You owe me big time. He wasn't wrong though. When my parents found out, they were especially grateful to Pei Xiu. After hearing about his difficult family situation, they insisted on inviting him over for dinner. Early Saturday morning, my parents rushed to the market and splurged on king crab and lobster without batting an eye. I was downright jealous watching them. This is something my family only splurges on during New Year's celebrations. Yet here we are going all out just for Pei Xiu. To avoid any gossip, I even invited Mu Ting. After she found out Pei Xiu had helped me, she wasn't afraid of him anymore. Sweetheart, get the door. My dad, busy in the kitchen, hurriedly called out to me when he heard the doorbell ring. I couldn't help feeling a bit sidelined. I thought it was Pei Xiu at the door, but it turned out to be Lin Ci. What do you want? I said coldly. Cici, my parents told me Pei Xiu came to your place for dinner today. Lin Ci asked. I nodded. Yeah, and what's it to you? Cici, Pei Xiu is bad news. Why are you getting so close to him? I know you're just trying to get back at me, but you shouldn't throw your life away like this. The more Lin Si spoke, the more worked up he got. I just can't fathom where he gets the audacity. Clearly, getting close to him is what would ruin me. And he actually deludes himself into thinking I'm using Pei Xiu to make him jealous. In Lin Si's eyes, Pei Xiu seems even more despicable than Han Miao. It wasn't until I got to know Pei Xiu that I realized all those rumors were actually spread by himself. He doesn't fight or smoke, and his grades are exceptionally good. It's just that people only notice his eccentric personality and dislike for making friends, which makes them overlook his virtues. In reality, Pei Xiu has never bullied any classmates, he simply prefers to keep to himself. In my eyes, Pei Xiu is 1,000 times better than Lin Si. That's what I thought, and that's exactly what I said. Lin Si, in my eyes, Pei Xiu is 1,000 times better than you. Don't even think about comparing yourself to him, you're not even in the same league. As soon as the words left my mouth, a cool, serious male voice, devoid of any amusement, chimed in, so that's how highly you think of me, Cici. Lin Si turned and saw Pei Xiu, glanced at me, his lips trembling as if he wanted to say something, but ultimately, too humiliated to stay, he stormed off in a huff. Actually, I did that on purpose. I saw Pei Xiu just a moment ago. Yes, in my heart, you're so much better than Lin Si. I said loudly on purpose, catching a glimpse of Lin Si quickening his steps as he walked away. Pei Xiu leaned in closer to me, his red lips parted and closed. Shunshi. You know there's an extra fee for taking advantage of me like this. I rolled my eyes. Hurry up and eat. My parents woke up early this morning. I thought Pei Xiu would be nervous, but he acted like he was right at home, setting down the gifts for my parents and rolling up his sleeves to help in the kitchen. This made my parents even more fond of him, and they quickly urged him to relax in the living room and watch TV instead. Mu Ting watched, then pulled me aside and teased. Seems to me your parents like Pei Xiu better. You two aren't secretly involved, are you? She winked suggestively, and I glanced over at Pei Xiu. He happened to look over at that exact moment. I blushed, flustered by the whole exchange. During dinner, Pei Xiu kept exclaiming, I've never tasted such delicious food, with every bite, charming my parents so much they nearly adopted him on the spot. It wasn't long before Han Miao and Lin Si got together. This was exactly what I had expected. Their romance was particularly flamboyant. Lin Si skipped classes with Han Miao, and despite it being the most critical year of high school, he threw caution to the wind for love, often staying out all night. Lin Si's parents actually came to me, hoping I could talk some sense into him. My parents weren't happy with Lin Si, but he's still the boy they watched grow up. They couldn't bear to see him throw his future away, which is why they agreed to let his parents meet with me. Cici. I know I misjudged you before, but you're the only one who can save our Lin Si now. He's so obsessed with that woman that he won't even come home. He's threatening to jump off a building if we pressure him. His father and I are at our wits' end. The last time I saw Lin Si's mother was at school, and now I realize time has etched its lines on her face as well. If I don't speak up, his mother would kneel before me. I quickly reached out to steady her and sighed. Auntie. It's not that I don't want to help. I can't persuade Lin Si either. He was willing to deceive me just to please that woman. If even you can't talk sense into him, what chance do I have? My refusal was crystal clear, and I had no intention of being dragged back into this mess. Besides, Lin Si's future lies in esports anyway. Lin Si's parents saw I wasn't willing to help, but they couldn't really say much about it. After all, it was Lin Si who wronged me first, before we knew it. Winter break had arrived. Lin Si seemed like he hadn't been home in ages. He just slept at school every day. The teachers had talked to him plenty, but nothing ever changed. As for whether Han Miao truly liked him, no one could really say. Either way, Lin Si seemed content to let himself spiral. On New Year's Eve, I finally had the chance to sit down and share a meal with Lin Si. He looked much greasier, and reeked of that nauseating smell of tobacco. The meal was unusually quiet until Pei Xiu called, Shunshi, come out, let's set off some fireworks. I looked out from the balcony and saw Pei Xiu and Mu Ting waiting downstairs with fireworks in hand. Mom, Dad, I'm heading out for a bit. After putting on my shoes, I was about to head out when Lin Si followed me. Cici, are you still so close with Pei Xiu? He's not a good person. The elevator arrived just in time, and I stepped inside. Lin Si. I really find you disgusting, playing both sides and pretending to be righteous. The moment the elevator doors closed, Lin Si's expression shifted, his eyes instantly turning icy and unsettling. I committed that scene to memory, raising my guard against Lin Si another notch. Outwardly harmless, but who knows what kind of beast lurks within. It makes me wonder, Could the fan unrest in the previous life really have nothing to do with Lin Si? A sense of doubt slowly crept in, leaving me distracted even while setting off fireworks. 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, Shinshi. Let's aim for the same university. Pei Xiu had somehow appeared by my side, tilting his head down to whisper, his fingers unconsciously clutching the hem of his shirt. Unfortunately, I didn't catch his words, my mind still haunted by the sudden tragedy from my past life. After the semester began, we entered an even more intense crunch period. Lin Si seemed to have a change of heart, no more fooling around with Han Miao, instead focusing seriously on his studies. Lin Si's parents finally felt relieved about this, though it had nothing to do with me. Only Han Miao suddenly came looking for me. Ever since I got close to Pei Xiu, Han Miao and his gang would practically hug the walls when they saw me. After all, Pei Xiu was both the school bully and a snitch who'd report things to the teachers. Han Miao was blocking my usual route home. Pei Xiu usually walks me back, but he had to leave early today due to a family matter. Shinshi, what kind of spell did you cast on Lin Si to make him stop hanging out with me? Her condescending attitude is exactly the same as in our past life. Judging by Han Miao's current behavior, could she actually have fallen for Lin Si? If I remember correctly, not long ago I accidentally overheard her chatting with someone. They asked if she was genuinely into Lin Si. And this young lady replied with utter disdain, just having a bit of fun, that's all. You have no idea how pathetic Lin Si is. I can treat him however I want if I feel like it. I've never played with a guy like him before. I looked up at Han Miao, annoyed by her question. Lin Si and I have absolutely nothing to do with each other, and I really dislike it when people drag me into his affairs. But Han Miao's response was what truly shocked me. Lin Si has gone completely crazy. He insists on breaking up with me and even told me that you want him to focus on his studies and that he doesn't want to disappoint you. How dare you say this has nothing to do with you? Could it be that Lin Si has also been reborn? Han Miao's words brought back memories. Lin Si has indeed been keeping a low profile lately, and what's more, he deliberately discusses studies with classmates in front of me from time to time. Some of his words seem intentionally directed at me. Senior year should focus on academics first. Those who truly care about you will always support you quietly from behind. Back then, I thought Lin Si's words were meant for Han Miao, but now it seems he was hinting at something for me. Does he really think I'd support him silently like I did in my past life? Who does he think he is? Han Miao. Lin Si and I are just ordinary neighbors. We're not close at all. Maybe he's just trying to make you jealous and get your attention. You know, if he had any real feelings for me, he wouldn't have let you all trick me back then, right? Lin Si and I are just neighbors. There's nothing more between us. He probably did this to test your sincerity, I said meaningfully, and Han Miao nodded in agreement. Alright, I'll let it slide this time. Only after Han Miao left did I speak to the person behind me. Come out, Lin Si. Lin Si stepped out from under the dim street light. Cece, I didn't want to drag this out with him, so I cut straight to the chase. Lin Si, you've been reborn too, haven't you? Lin Si's eyes darted away. After all these years, I knew him well enough to tell. Eventually, he nodded in admission. I asked just one question. That riot your fans started in our past life. I refused to believe it was an accident. Who was really behind it? In the dim light, Lin Si looked utterly desolate. Cece. It was Han Miao who did it. I'm so sorry. She was the one who hired the fans too. I had no idea she would do something to hurt you, or I would never have agreed to it. After you died, I even avenged you. But in this life, how could you get so close to Pei Xiu? Lin Si grew more and more agitated, almost frantic, and suddenly grabbed me by the shoulders. How could you abandon me? I know you were just trying to provoke me. Now I realize how wrong I was. It wasn't until after you were gone that I truly saw my own heart. It's always been you that I loved. What about Han Miao? I ruined my hand for you, stood by you through 7 years of your lowest moments, and the moment you succeeded, you couldn't wait to confess to Han Miao. And now you say it's me you love. Do you really expect me to believe that? No, it's not like that. Cece, please let me explain. Han Miao deceived me, she lied, saying she was the one who'd been silently supporting me all along. It wasn't until Muting told me that I realized she'd taken credit for what you did. I was wrong. Truly, can you ever forgive me? At this moment, Lin Si looked as vulnerable as an abandoned puppy, desperately begging me with pleading eyes, just hoping I would take him back home. Too bad, I'm not buying it. Are you done pretending? Lin Si, you make me sick. The words pierced Lin Si's heart like a sharp blade. He staggered backward, as if unable to believe I could be so cruel. Cece, I'll make you see who truly loves you. With those final words, Lin Si turned and walked away. We never spoke another word to each other until after the college entrance exams were over. When the results came out, I got into the art department at Central University as I'd hoped. Pei Xiu made it into the physics program at Peking University. And Mu Ting was admitted to a top-tier university. It seemed like everyone had gotten their happy ending. Everyone, that is, except Lin Si. He chose the same path as his previous life, deciding to pursue esports. At the time, League of Legends was incredibly popular, filled with top-tier players. Lin Si led an unknown team all the way to the global autumn finals. This happened 7 years earlier than in his past life. Lin Si sent me an invitation, hoping I would witness him claim the championship. But I didn't go. I already knew the outcome without having to guess. There was nothing worth seeing. Lin Si didn't win the championship. He regrettably fell short in the quarterfinals. I laughed. Sometimes success isn't about how talented you are. It might just be good luck. Now that luck has run out, you're left with nothing. Lin Si broke down, unable to understand why he failed. In his eyes, he was a genius and a world champion. All I can say is, when people are put on a pedestal, they truly lose sight of their actual abilities. What esports prodigy, just media hype, nothing more. Lin Si probably forgot how he trained relentlessly for 7 years, grinding at the computer until he felt physically sick. Maybe if he pushes hard now, he could make it in a few years. But Lin Si is no longer who he used to be, and there won't be another Shinshi by his side. Lin Si and Han Miao are still entangled. Han Miao seems to have genuinely fallen for him, clinging to him persistently. She even used her family's connections to set up an esports studio just to win his favor. In my sophomore year, I successfully secured a spot at the International Arts Festival competition. Winning 3rd place in the art competition with my piece Phoenix Rising from the Ashes was truly fulfilling for me. Not every success means taking 1st place. What matters more to me is achieving my personal goals and realizing my own value. Congratulations on making your dream come true. I hadn't seen Pei Xiu since starting university, so his visit today came as a bit of a surprise. 5. Thank you, I said as I accepted the gift from Pei Xiu. A faint surprise washed over me when I opened it. Is this? My painting had been sold right after the competition. How did it end up in Pei Xiu's hands? And now he's giving it back to me. As a gift. How could you afford this? The question slipped out before I could stop myself, making Pei Xiu burst into laughter. Shinshi, you're so ungrateful. When did I ever say my family was poor? I invited you to my place before, and you were the one who didn't want to come. I felt a bit embarrassed. Pei Xiu was right. I'd just assumed his family was struggling all on my own. Then how come you ate so many free meals at my place? They bantered and teased each other, and the distance that had grown during their time apart vanished in an instant. After a long silence, Pei Xiu suddenly asked me with a serious expression. Do you still have feelings for Lin Si? Why would you ask that? I never had feelings for him, but back in high school, even when we were setting off fireworks together, you were thinking about Lin Si, Pei Xiu said, sounding a bit hurt. It suddenly came back to me. Pei Xiu was standing beside me at that moment, asking what was on my mind, and I blurted out Lin Si's name without thinking. So, he thought I had a crush on Lin Si all along. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, Pei Xiu started seeking me out more and more often. My classmates even began to wonder if he had a thing for me. Pei Xiu happened to overhear and said with a straight face, "Classmate, please don't spread rumors like that." Okay, he looked straight at me and said, word by word, "I have an open crush on Shinshi." I said yes to Pei Xiu's confession, because I liked him too. Someone told Lin Si I was dating, and he actually orchestrated a kidnapping. Han Miao was also taken along with me. Lin Si, you're insane. Do you even realize this is illegal? Han Miao and I were tied up on the rooftop of an abandoned industrial building. Lin Si acted as if he hadn't heard, gently caressing my cheek. Cici, I would never hurt you. I knew you wouldn't see me, so I had to do this. Didn't you always think I liked Han Miao? How about I kill her with my own hands? Then you'll see, it's only you I care about. Han Miao's mouth was gagged, so she couldn't make a sound. But I knew she must have been cursing a blue streak. No, Lin Si, don't do anything stupid. In Lin Si's eyes, my warning was mistaken for concern. He exclaimed with delight, Cici, I knew it. You do love me. You're only with Pei Xiu to make me jealous, aren't you? Watching Lin Si descend into madness, I knew things were taking a dangerous turn. If Han Miao dies, you'll come back to me, right? Lin Si advanced toward Han Miao, grabbing her head and slamming it violently against the concrete floor. This is all your fault, Han Miao. If it weren't for you, Cece and I wouldn't have wasted all these years apart. A deceitful, rotten person like you deserves to die. Lin Ci, stop this. If you really kill her, what will become of you in the next life? Think about your parents, they still need you. I struggled desperately to untie the ropes binding me. But Lin Ci had tied them too tightly. There was no way I could break free. Lin Ci's hand paused, and he let out a bitter smile before turning to look at me. Cece, deep down, I know we can never go back to how things were. I lied to you. I knew about the fan riot in our past life. I watched Han Miao hurt you with my own eyes. I regretted it afterward, but you never woke up again. You have no idea how overjoyed I was the moment I was reborn, but then I realized you had also returned. And by that time, I was already with Han Miao. I hated myself for not coming back sooner. I'm so torn. I want to be with you, but I'm afraid you won't accept me. Back then, I thought if I could just win the championship and confess to you in front of the whole world, you'd understand how I felt, but I failed. I knew then, we really couldn't go back to how things were, but I must make it up to you somehow. Lin Ci dragged Han Miao onto the rooftop, declaring, I'll take Han Miao with me to atone for my sins. At the same moment, the sound of police sirens pierced the air. Lin Ci leaped off the building, pulling Han Miao down with him. No, I let out a piercing scream, but it ultimately failed to stop Lin Ci in his tracks. Both Lin Ci and Han Miao died, right before my eyes. Pei Xiu Side Story 1. I can't believe I was such a fool, thinking all along that Shenshi had feelings for Lin Ci. What a complete waste of 2 years, after my relentless pursuit. Shenshi finally said yes to my confession. You have no idea how overjoyed I am to finally call her my wife. I want to cuddle with my wife. She smells absolutely divine. But there's someone I absolutely despise, Lin Ci. I wish I could skin him alive and tear him limb from limb. God only knows how panicked I was when the police informed me that Shenshi had gone missing. Lin Ci actually jumped off the building right in front of my wife. I was absolutely heartbroken. What if this leaves her traumatized? Thankfully, with my constant day and night companionship, my wife eventually pulled through and recovered. I couldn't wait to propose to my wife right after graduating from college. She's still chasing her dreams, and all I need to do is be her safe harbor, a place to rest when she's weary. Shenshi's perspective, extra chapter 2. After Lin Ci jumped from the building, I had a long dream. In the dream, I saw the scene after my death. Overnight, his parents seemed to have aged 10 years. While Lin Ci shut himself in his room in a daze, it was Mu Ting who went to see him and told him everything I had done for him over the years. Lin Ci lost his mind. He stormed over to Han Miao with a knife, shouting, "Why did you come back to haunt me? Why did you lie? It was Cece who did all this for me. How dare you take credit for it?" In the end, Lin Ci and Han Miao perished together. Lin Ci's last words were, "Cece, I offer you my atonement." Story 2. People always said Zhou Qinchuan was indifferent and aloof, but he pursued me like a dog for 10 years, until I was pushed into a raging fire. He didn't hesitate to abandon his fortune worth hundreds of millions and followed me into the inferno. Reborn into this life, I decided not to be the bad woman who kept him hanging, and instead devoted myself wholeheartedly to treating him well. Unfortunately, it seems he was reborn too. Lin Huan. Do you still want to treat me like a dog like in your past life? Huh, I was cornered by him, forced to sign a divorce agreement. He said he would never want me in this lifetime, absolutely never. 1. When I was 11, someone cruelly broke 5 of my fingers. From that moment, I vowed to become someone at the pinnacle of this world, by any means necessary, without scruples. Later, I did many wrong things and eventually, I was retaliated against and pushed into a fire. As I was being swallowed by the flames, I thought of nothing. But then, a white figure burst into my view and held me tight. It was Zhou Qinchuan, my husband, the man who loved me so deeply, a man without any blemishes in his life except for me. As we turned to ash, I thought, if there is another life, I swear I'll dedicate my heart and soul to only being good to him. 2. This is the divorce agreement. Sign it. The flickering lights made my thoughts swirl. The man standing opposite lowered his eyes, hiding the coldness in his gaze. Zhou Qinchuan, don't be like this. I tried to grab his hand, his veins throbbed, and he quickly withdrew his hand. This was the first hour and 41 minutes of my rebirth. Suddenly, I felt an inexplicable sense of relief. Zhou Qinchuan finally realized I was a bad woman who deceived him out of his money and emotions. He didn't want me anymore. 3. I sat in a cake shop, looking through the thin glass, watching 2 figures swaying in the opposite school building. Zhou Qinchuan surely didn't know I was secretly watching him explain a problem to that girl, who was nearly clinging to his sleeve. Yes, in this life, Zhou Qingchuan should know who is kind and who is innocent. But still, I propped up my chin and sent a message to that girl, Xiaomiao. How are you seducing your brother-in-law? 4. Lin Xiaomiao is my younger sister. To be precise, she's the real daughter, and I am the fake one. I was picked up by Lin's mother on a stormy day when I was 12. Everyone thought it was a coincidence, but it wasn't. To make Lin's mother find me pitiful on that rainy day, I deliberately broke my own leg. I wanted glory and wealth, to be above everyone else, to never taste that bone-deep humiliation again. When Lin Xiaomiao was 16, she was found and brought back to the Lin family. She was always kind, innocent, and pure, the things I had to break my bones to achieve. She obtained without doing anything. I hated her. I wondered why she didn't have to fall into the mire and taste the pain. 5. I am such a wicked and bad woman. So, in my past life, I suffered a lot. Perhaps, Lin Xiaomiao was really like what those people described. She was like a goddess, so I must have angered the gods. In this life, the only person who loved me also abandoned me. I curled up on the sofa, staring at the divorce agreement on the coffee table. Zhou Qingchuan. Are you coming home tonight? This message lying in my phone had gone unanswered for 4 whole hours. Zhou Qingchuan's disposition was always indifferent. His friends always complained that he is as cold as ice. But in my past life, I never felt that way. To me, he was like my dog. He would come whenever he smelled me, always rubbing against me, ready to hold my hand the moment it was free. Forget not replying to messages. If I said one thing, he would respond eagerly with 10, but now. A message popped up, and I thought it was from him. I hurried to check, but it wasn't. It was from Lin Xiaomiao, a message accompanied by a picture. Sister, I didn't mean to seduce your husband. I just want to help manage our father's company. So your husband was just introducing me to some people. In the photo, the girl stood next to him with a charming smile. They looked like a perfect match. I must have called Zhou Qingchuan a dozen times. He didn't pick up, and eventually, he just blocked me. Actually, Zhou Qingchuan was never good with social niceties. He was all about academia. In my past life, to take some shares of my father's company from Lin Xiaomiao, I asked him to help me win over those in the pharmaceutical industry. He did it without a word of complaint. I never considered that he was a professor from a prestigious university, too dignified to bow down and beg favors from those people. I only remember one incident from my past life. I was discussing a partnership and got drunk. So I called him to pick me up. The private room was filled with influential figures, and as I leaned against the sofa, I watched his pale figure approach step by step. Come here, calling him over as if teasing a dog, a highly respected medical professor, a man who never lowered his chin in his daily life. Being joked about by me in public like that must have felt exhilarating at the time. Everyone thought he would storm out, but what did Zhou Qingchuan do then? He walked up to me step by step, then he naturally squatted down and grasped my ankle. He adjusted my dangling high heel. Looking up, his eyebrows seemed like a gentle mural. It's getting colder tonight, don't catch a cold. Huan. He liked calling me that, but after being reborn, he never called me that again. I'm a light sleeper, so I woke up the moment he came home. I lay there, wanting to see what he would do seeing me completely unguarded, but he just walked past me. Not even willing to cover me with a blanket, I sat up and threw the divorce papers at his back. The man paused, his spine attractively visible. Don't damage it. If I have to draft it again, you won't get as much. Under the moonlight, I sat there watching him, his tone calm, a shadow of a cloud hid in his pupils, mixed with obscure coldness. I won't sign. I stared at him intently. He seemed to expect it, nodding. Okay. Then we'll go to court. Zhou Qingchuan, you bastard. I lunged at him, trying to grab him, but he subdued me easily. Under the curved moonlight, he pinned me on the couch. His hand gripped my neck, not gently at all. I bit the base of his thumb. He seemed not to feel the pain, but suddenly, he let go. A gentle touch brushed across my cheek. So you can cry too. He left these cold and ambiguous words behind, leaving me alone in the living room. I pressed my eyes shut tightly, as if that would stop the tears from spilling out. Don't leave me behind. I made a vow when I was 10, never to say those words again. I refused to sign the divorce papers. The next day, Zhou Qingchuan withdrew from all collaborations related to me. The Zhou family owns a significant part of the medical industry, and he is a top scholar in this field. I admit, in my previous life, I married him for profit. I knew he didn't want me anymore, but still, when I found out he had shifted all the projects to collaborate with Lin Xiaomiao, my heart felt a dull pain. Although I also felt this was just, in my previous life, he truly saw through me. Lin Xiaomiao was so pure and clean, unlike me, who was accustomed to achieving goals through dirty means. His withdrawal from the collaboration served as a warning to others in the field, and suddenly, I found myself completely isolated. I decided to try and win Zhou Qingchuan over again. Zhou Qingchuan, are you at school? I made some lunch. Can I bring it over? I didn't dare to hope that he still had feelings for me, but I genuinely hoped he could remember our past and not be too ruthless. Staring at my phone, which showed no response, I felt my face thickening with shame. After yesterday's quarrel, when it came to matters of benefit, I still had to beg. I planned to cook him a delicious meal and deliver it personally. Then I realized a problem. I had no idea what Zhou Qingchuan liked to eat. On the contrary, he probably knew my likes and dislikes by heart. As feeding me all sorts of delicacies was his greatest obsession in his previous life, I wasn't that delicate, but I enjoyed being capricious in front of him. Zhou Qingchuan, this noodle is too hard. Zhou Qingchuan, who would eat such soft noodles? Zhou Qingchuan, I don't like spicy food. Zhou Qingchuan, when did you start cooking so blandly? He only got angry with me once. His dark eyebrows and eyes stared at me intensely. His tone cold and serious. Huan. Do you think I will always stand by your side? I looked down at my manicured nails and told him, then you can leave. That was my response. And he really did leave. In sub-zero weather, he stormed out without his coat, probably fuming with anger. Around evening, I sent him a message. Zhou Qingchuan, I miss you. Within moments, the door was opened. He suddenly pulled me into his arms, the cold air mixing with his warmth, his tall nose pressed against my neck, and I heard him say, yes, I will always stand by your side. You see, training Professor Zhou in my previous life was even simpler than training a dog. The third time I cut my hand until it bled. Staring at the boiling unknown substance in the pot, I snapped back from my memories. Realizing that I was not talented in cooking, I ended up ordering takeout from Linchuan Pavilion, and transferred it into my own thermos. After all, there wasn't much difference between home-cooked and takeout. Probably. Sorry, sister, I didn't know you also brought lunch for Teacher Zhou. He has already eaten the meal I made. Lin Xiaomiao stood in front of me, visibly flustered and panicking. Call him brother-in-law. I smiled at her, noticing her hands tighten within her sleeves. Zhou Qingchuan, I stood in front of the man who was eating his meal, head bowed, ignoring me. I took the chopsticks from his hand and replaced the lunchbox in front of him with mine. He stared at the dish for a moment before finally fixing his deep, dark eyes on me. Look, I extended my hand, covered in band-aids, towards him. I got these cuts while cooking for you. It took me a long time. Won't you eat my cooking? I met his gaze calmly, yet it felt as if I was on the verge of shattering. Finally, he sighed. Lin Huan, this dish looks exactly like the ones from Lin Chuange. Did you learn it from them? I pretended not to understand the teasing in his words and decided to just let everything go. Zhou Qingchuan, just tell me if you will eat it or not. It seemed like whenever I got angry, he would soften and coax me. I was used to this, but I had forgotten that this wasn't the same as our past lives. Yet, he still bowed his head and slowly ate the seafood congee in front of him. Obediently, just like the Zhou Qingchuan of our past life who would do anything I asked. After finishing, he watched me as I bent over for the first time to clean up the lunchbox. Lin Huan, he called my name, clear and refreshing like a stream. I'm allergic to seafood. After 2 lifetimes, you still can't remember. Shocked, I looked up at him. His usually pale wrist was now noticeably red and rashy, plainly visible to me. Is torturing me to death the only thing that makes you happy? Zhou Qingchuan had a severe seafood allergy, from the redness starting at his wrist to his incessant coughing and eventually difficulty in breathing. It only took a few minutes. How could you let him touch seafood at all? The doctor said if we had brought Mr. Zhou in any later, he might have died. Sister, how could you not know about this? Why didn't you know? At the hospital door, Lin Xiaomiao looked at me with teary eyes. Her voice tinged with a cry. She liked Zhou Qingchuan. I knew that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given him a second glance in our past lives. Well, he drank it himself, didn't he? I weakly defended myself when the door to the hospital room opened. The nurse nodded, indicating the patient was awake. Through the slightly open door, I saw Zhou Qingchuan sitting on the bed, looking at me. It seemed he had heard every word of my feeble defense. His gaze was empty, void of anything, even disappointment. Lin Xiaomiao rushed to his bedside. Mr. Zhou, how are you? I followed, but the man, silent for a long time, suddenly coughed. Lin Huan, his voice was low, his dark eyes staring straight at me. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively walked towards him. Can you never appear in front of me again? This was Zhou Qingchuan's request. I don't know why my reaction was even more intense than his. I stormed out of the hospital room, slamming the door behind me. Yes, I manipulated situations. I was heartless, I was utterly wicked, but why? Why couldn't he still stand by my side? Why couldn't he just stand by my side? No matter what kind of person I was, he chose Lin Xiaomiao over me. When I got home, I happened to spot the stuffed toy lying on the sofa. It was a limited edition dragon that he won for me before we got married. He thought of it as just an ordinary gift. Back then, I had no clue that to win this dragon, he had scoured 5 malls and emptied 4 claw machines. In the end, he presented it to me in a bar. That day, I had him drink a lot. His ears turned red, slightly tipsy. He pulled out the dragon from behind his back. Lin Huan, he called my name. Can you look at me? He hid behind the dragon, waving its claws at me. Can I stay by your side, even if, it was a faint sigh, barely audible next to me. He threw away all the dignity of being Zhou Qingchuan. Even if I have to be the backup, that's fine. It turns out, memories really do haunt you in the dead of night. As I stood at the door of Zhou Qingchuan's hospital room past midnight, that's what I thought. The night was silent, the curtains barely covering the window. I stood beside his bed, looking down at the man who seemed restless even in his sleep. Zhou Qingchuan's face, undoubtedly, had the charm that made college girls daydream about him. With his high nose bridge and sharp brow bones, he always carried an air of pride. How come? He's been entangled with me for most of my life. I unconsciously leaned closer, only to find myself caught in his cold, deep gaze. He had woken up at some point, leaning against the headboard, watching me. His look was so cold, I instinctively stepped back. Have you finally grown to dislike me? I sniffled. For some reason, under the dim moonlight, I suddenly found myself smirking at him with a bit of self-mockery. Surprised, he said, clearly biting each word. Shouldn't I dislike you? I felt a dark sharpness expanding around him. He sat up straight, his earnestness heartbreaking. You're so selfish, so utilitarian, always resorting to the lowest tactics. Shouldn't I dislike you, Lin Huan? But so what, Zhou Qingchuan? Are you telling me you just found out I'm like this? For some reason, tonight I was easily provoked. The night was uneasy, and for the first time, I wasn't so effortlessly poised in front of him. I grabbed his collar, feeling his anger too, as the blue veins on his neck stood out prominently. What's wrong? You don't want me anymore. Or do you think Lin Xiaomiao is better? That's why you're so affectionate with her. Let me tell you, even if we divorce, I won't let you have a happy future. If I can't have it, I'll destroy it. For someone like me, who lives in the mire and can't stand the sight of any bright light, it's impossible for them to reach a so-called happy ending. I bared my teeth at him, but was met with his clear, calm eyes. He leaned back on the bed, a faint smile on his lips as he looked at me. Ah, Juan, when did you become so irritable, so easily stirred up? You've lost. I suddenly let go of his collar. Yes, what am I doing? Not only exposing my weaknesses. At this moment, if I wanted to find a way to get through the current difficulties, the best solution would be to appease the man in front of me. In my past life, I was adept at this, but looking at the man who now sat composedly before me, my throat felt clogged, and I couldn't speak. After a while, I swallowed the words, please, I beg you. Instead, I said, fine, just you wait, Zhou Qingchuan. I can do just fine without you. Also, I will not lose. Refuse to lose, and absolutely cannot lose. I walked out of the hospital room in high heels. Falling out with Zhou Qingchuan meant giving up on him completely. No matter how you look at it, it was an impractical plan. But I no longer wanted to bow down to him. It was you who gave up everything to join me in hell in our past lives. You who always clung to me. You endured my deceit for so long. And I had already decided to treat you well. I had already started to see you as family. Why then? I stared at my reflection in the elevator mirror. Luckily, I walked away so quickly, he couldn't see my eyes, red and swollen with tears. Why, tell me now, you've come to your senses. It felt like being thrown back into the mire. Zhou Qingchuan's departure triggered a series of chain reactions. Everything unfolded just like in our past lives. Lin Xiaomiao gradually won everyone's favor, while I became the universally despised villain. The only difference was that Zhou Qingchuan, who had always been by my side in the past life, was no longer here. Miss Lin really knows how to hold her liquor. The middle-aged, slightly corpulent man approached me, reeking of alcohol. I struggled greatly to suppress the urge to pour my drink over his balding head. This collaboration was crucial. My father had already begun to lose hope in me, showing a clear preference for nurturing Lin Xiaomiao. Over the years, my ambition to climb the ranks had made me too many enemies. And what would become of me, an orphan with no support? I might just be kicked back into the mire I came from. Mr. Wang is joking. I brushed my hair from my forehead, and the man stared at me, almost drooling. But whenever the topic of collaboration came up, he would skillfully change the subject, taking the opportunity to ply me with more alcohol. He was indeed a sly old fox. The discomfort from the alcohol continually assaulted my brain, and I squinted my eyes, drinking another glass amid the cheering crowd. But in a daze, a sharp figure suddenly entered my view. The door of the private room opened. "Ah, Professor Zhou, you finally arrived." The disdainful and lecherous old man who had just been ogling me immediately switched to a flattering demeanor, and this was the first time I saw Zhou Qingchuan in 3 months. He still seemed like a pristine white lotus, untouched by the dirt of the world. "Mr. Wang," the man casually nodded at the others, "I'm here to introduce one of my students to you." With that, I saw Lin Xiaomiao timidly peeking from behind Zhou Qingchuan. Now I understood why Mr. Wang had been so evasive earlier. His pharmaceutical company could double its market value if it could connect with Zhou Qingchuan, and with Lin Xiaomiao here, Zhou Qingchuan paving the way meant I had to hand over my deal to her. Strangely, Lin Xiaomiao seemed uninterested, yet she always managed to precisely snatch away everything related to me. The deal fell through. I feared that if I stayed a few seconds longer, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from throwing my drink, half on Mr. Wang's head, half on Zhou Qingchuan's head, so I pretended to greet them and walked out of the private room. But as I supported myself along the hallway, something felt terribly wrong. My body felt strange, as if something was burning up. My head was heavy, my feet light, my body weak. What had that old man, Pai Yongda, put in my drink? The next second, I was abruptly pulled into a corner nearby. I struggled violently, but my body was too weak to fight back. "Hee, Miss Zhou, can you just stay still? Everyone knows you're just a cast-off. You were adopted." There was Zhou Qingchuan, and you squandered that. "However, if you're willing to spend the night with me, I might just consider giving you this deal." His greasy voice exploded next to my ear. The drug was extremely potent. My limbs were weak. I desperately tried to make some noise, but the club was high-end with good sound insulation, and there was no one around. I could only watch helplessly as that man lecherously reached under my skirt. But suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. I had never been so certain that they were Zhou Qingchuan's footsteps. It was only at that moment that I realized how familiar I was with him. I desperately tried to make a noise, but the man was pressing down on me, choking me, making it hard to breathe. For the first time, tears fell heavily due to physical discomfort. "You motherfucker," I heard him panting threats in my ear. Just as the footsteps started to fade, an untimely noise was made. The footsteps stopped, then turned towards us. I struggled fiercely, silently raging. "Zhou Qingchuan, come the fuck over here. I'm about to die." But whether out of rage or desperation, the man pressed his fingers harder around my throat. My heart raced as the footsteps stopped right beside us. Suddenly, a timid, sweet voice called from down the hall, "Mr. Zhou, there are a lot of people in the room, and I'm really scared by myself. Can you come and keep me company? Don't go to such a dark place." The footsteps abruptly halted. My heart sank into boundless darkness. The next second, I was abruptly pulled into the dimly lit hallway. The man's screams also abruptly resounded in my ears. Zhou Qingchuan seemed to have learned some fighting skills over the years, but when the man was thrown out, I was also shocked. Then, I fell into a less than enthusiastic embrace. "Zhou Qingchuan, He took off his coat and draped it over my disheveled form. The turmoil inside me surged more than ever due to his brief touch. Strangely, I resisted letting things continue this way and struggled to get off him. But he held me tightly. My throat was sweet, unable to make a sound. Slowly, more and more people came out of the private room, and I saw Lin Xiaomiao's red, aggrieved eyes. My consciousness then sank into a deep, dark stupor. I was awakened by the cold. The shower continuously sprayed liquid much colder than my body temperature. The man stood by, watching me, his thoughts inscrutable. "Give me my clothes." I tried to get up, finding my limbs powerless. His touch sparked a shiver. I abruptly shook off his hand. In fact, in my past life, I always treated Zhou Qingchuan this way. Temper is nurtured. And in my past life, his indulgence almost let me do whatever I wanted. "Mr. Wang gave you a very new drug. Are you sure you can walk out?" He looked down at me, his expression ambiguous. I worked in drug research and understood the lingering effects and antidotes for such drugs. And now, the perfect antidote was right in front of me. If it were the me from my past life, I would have clung to him by now. but now, I hesitated. Suddenly, the sound of a belt unbuckling lightly echoed. I shivered, then the clear water splashed lightly. He grasped the back of my neck. The kiss came suddenly. Here, I'll skip the part about the antidote's effects wearing off, which nobody likes to read about. It felt like I was being rescued from a torrential sea. My mind started to regain a slight semblance of clarity, and then, with all the reality of the moment, I slapped him hard across the face. His head turned sharply to one side. Zhou Qinchuan's features are strikingly handsome in an aggressive way, his eyelashes extraordinarily long. From my angle, they were dotted with fine droplets of water. He let out a laugh, like a flower suddenly blooming in ruins. You really know how to use and discard. The sound of trickling water still echoed around the bathroom. Through the shimmering reflection, I looked into his eyes, hiding countless secrets. Zhou Qinchuan, why did you guide Lin Xiaomiao? Whether it's because you pity her past self, or you genuinely fell for her, Zhou Qinchuan, if you have her in your heart, when it comes time to choose between us, don't choose me. I'm not someone who is very emotional. Even after pondering most of my life, I still don't understand what liking someone truly means, but I view everything the same way. I want it all. The very best. If he is distracted, then he is worthless to me. And I am not lacking in worthless things. Lin Huan, his eyes clouded over with darkness, impenetrable. We've both been given a second life. We both know what the best path forward is, don't we? What, is your logic telling you not to repeat the mistakes of your past life? Then just leave. I splashed water at him. He didn't dodge. Instead, he continued to look at me with those pale, sad eyes. Ah Huan. He called me, the name lingering on his lips, grinding away disappointment and resentment. It's not me who's repeating the same mistakes, it's you, stubbornly following the same dark path, unwilling to repent. Right, I froze, panic slowly magnifying within me. The man stood up, the world outside so dark, tied to his shadow. His gaze rested on me, my thoughts in turmoil. Next time don't let Director Wang handle things, he's too careless. He didn't dispose of the medication packaging properly. In the quiet of the bathroom, I listened to his every word, striking deep into my heart. That medication came from your lab, didn't it? He couldn't have known the formula before our collaboration. Today, so many saw me protecting you. That should be enough for you. With those words, the man left the bathroom. I lay alone in the bathtub, half submerged in darkness. I looked up, staring at the gloomy ceiling. Yes, that's enough. I can't lose. Director Wang might look a decade or two older than me, but he was actually my college classmate. Everything today was orchestrated by me. I gambled on whether Zhou Qinchuan would save me publicly. If he saved me, it would prove that our relationship wasn't as fractured as it seemed, and I could use him again as a leverage for my comeback. I won the bet. Now, there are probably many partners eager to contact me and restart collaborations, but why am I so afraid? The way Zhou Qinchuan looked at me when he left, I suddenly realized, my heart. It turns out I can also be so disoriented and panicked because of his disappointment. Destruction at the root is the relentless redemption of the soul. Why do villains in movies and dramas live so long? Perhaps they are just like me, shameless, having abandoned too much. As the year draws to a close, my position has finally been solidified once again. Lin Xiaomiao messed up several collaborations, and eventually, my father, the capitalist, shifted his focus back to me. Things were supposed to progress positively from here, but unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, I had made too many mistakes and enemies in my past life. So, after 3 consecutive social gatherings, on my way home at midnight, I was abducted by several men in baseball caps and shoved into a white van without feeling any surprise. Who ordered you to kidnap me? I can offer twice the money. No, 3 times. Unequal negotiations always revolve around pleasing the other party. So as I was pushed into the vehicle, my mind was rapidly spinning. Unfortunately, they were unmoved, and suddenly a knife was pressed against my throat. TCH, they weren't after money, but my life. May I ask whom have I offended? Before I could finish my sentence, the knife had already pierced slightly into my skin. I shut up as a voice modified by a voice changer echoed in my ear. Don't worry, I don't want your life. I just need you to do something for me. The blade traced my veins, constantly reminding me that my life was hanging by a thread. Now, call Zhou Qinchuan, ask him for the key to the YDX2 formula. YDX2, I remember. This anti-cancer drug was about to be launched, spearheaded by Zhou Qinchuan. Its release could potentially revolutionize the fields of medicine and pharmacy. Unfortunately, in my past life, both Zhou Qinchuan and I died on the eve of its launch. I was killed in a car accident on the way to the launch event, and he died running into the blazing inferno to embrace me. disregarding his own safety. We're not buddies. I'm just his ex-wife. Do you think I can get something so important? But hearing the kidnapper's demand almost made me laugh. It might be the illusion I created that deceived them, making these people think that Zhou Qingchuan was still the same person I could summon or dismiss at will. Only I knew that even if I died now, it wouldn't cause him a ripple. Tell him you've been kidnapped. Tell him you're going to die. The blade finally drew a line of blood along my neck. The man eased up a bit, then pressed the knife tip against my chest. I really had no choice. From his tone, he wasn't lying. If I couldn't get the key, I definitely wouldn't survive the night. But YDX2 was essentially all of Zhou Qingchuan's life's work. Those people wanted the formula probably to launch it before he could. If I actually managed to get it, it would ruin Zhou Qingchuan's life. The brilliant and great future of Professor Zhou, compared to the life of a villain like me, it was clear I should sacrifice myself. But unfortunately, as I said, I'm a selfish person. Give me the phone. I can only say I'll try my best. The man seemed pleased with my compliance. Before the call connected, I prepared myself. First, I needed to use a perfectly pitched crying tone, then add a tremble to my voice. Say to him, Zhou Qingchuan, I'm about to die. Please save me. Because he always fell for my act of submission. This way, the chances of success might not be 70 or 60%, but definitely 30 or 40. But the moment the call connected, my mind went blank. Hello. Hearing his softly responding voice reminded me that it had been 4 months since we last spoke. I thought for a long time, Lin Huan, shouldn't you be the most selfish person? Lin Huan, don't you care about your own life? Lin Huan, you already owe Zhou Qingchuan so much. What's a little more? But in the end, as I looked up at the moon outside the window, tonight's moonlight was just too beautiful. I said, Zhou Qingchuan, happy birthday. I said, you're such a fool. Lucky that today happens to be your birthday. Don't fall for me in your next life, dummy. I lunged towards the tip of the knife. Wondering what the greatest failure in life is, a miserly, selfish ghost. One day, I gave everything generously. It's so shameful. I've thought about being a good person. If I were born into an ordinary family, with a father and a mother, if I hadn't been kicked and pushed around by everyone from childhood, it's not that I don't want to be a good person. It's just that if I've lived until now, I couldn't possibly be a good person. But the definition of a good person varies from person to person. I bankrupted a company, sparing its owner the pain of experiencing its future failure. Am I not a good person? I'm too good. Actually, however, I think Zhou Qingchuan is a good person in the conventional sense. After all, he's lived an upright life, never doing a single despicable thing. So, when he got close to me, all I could think about was destroy him. Destroy him. I couldn't destroy him. He's incorruptible. A world apart from me. I remember one night, after we became an item, he rose from me. I suddenly hooked my arms around his neck, our faces so close, his breath on my face, his intense gaze burning into me. Would you love me, even if I were a bad woman? I asked him, almost playfully. His Adam's apple bobbed gently, then he stared at me, his sincere black eyes fixed on me. He said, I would. His fingertips touched the most sensitive part of my spine, biting my shoulder, softly enduring. When have you ever not been a bad woman? So I had already ruined him. There was no denying it. The world changes. I don't believe in 100% true feelings in this world. The only thing I'm sure of is his love for me. He managed to do something so difficult. So, if one day my broken life could have a glorious end, then I would reluctantly allow him to give it a grand finale. I stared at the ceiling, moving up and down. Is this heaven? Impossible. Not because heaven looks too much like a ship's hold, but because of the person sleeping next to me. How could Zhou Qingchuan and I possibly end up in the same place after death? You're awake. The person next to me glanced at me lightly, then pulled the slightly slipped blanket back over my shoulders. Where are we? On the high seas. We're probably approaching Copenhagen soon. That's quite a drift. Why didn't I die? You want to die that badly? I turned to look at him, his eyes dark, his complexion not so good, and his gaze a bit fierce. I raised my hand, stroking his stubble. So you came to save me after all. What's the cost? Zhou Qingchuan, give up the identity of a medical scholar, hand over YDX2, never to involve in this field again, nor step half into the country's territory. Right. I turned my head, the ship's rail framing the surging waves. The ones who orchestrated my kidnapping were led by my father. I should have known. My rights are too heavy. He needed to pave the way for his own daughter. In the end, I'm still just a stray dog that anyone can kick around. The sea breeze carried a faint, moist scent. I leaned next to him, tightening the blanket around me. Zhou Qingchuan, don't you have even the slightest grievance? He stared at me. Ah Huan, There are many things that I just do if I feel like doing them. I've tried taking a different path in life, but it wasn't what I wanted. In this world, everything is rigidly defined. Everything in black and white, but for you, I can break all the rules. In the dimly lit cabin, he gently touched my hand. If it means following a path to the end with you, then I'm ready to spend another lifetime by your side. I'm so infatuated with you, especially when you gave up your life for me. I really hate myself. My life is already a mess. What does it matter if I let go of my pride for you? He asked me what I was smiling about. I just think, this world is hellishly fair. I looked up. I have nothing left. But I still have you. You have everything, yet you're stuck with me. I quietly said to myself, Zhou Qin Chuan, let's not meet in the next life. I rubbed the tips of his fingers, then our fingers intertwined. This lifetime, let me protect you. Letter to Lin Huan. Yesterday, Mrs. Smith next door told me she saw you pacing at the garden gate for a long time before heading home. This morning, you rushed out of the door without a word, using grocery shopping as an excuse. I think you must have heard the news from across the ocean. YDX2 is indeed my life's work, and I had anticipated the unprecedented success it would bring to the Lin family. To be honest, I find the torment of not having spoken to you for 11 whole hours far greater than seeing my efforts used by others. I know we feel differently about matters of the heart. You can't understand my love for you. A feeling that for me transcends conventional meaning and even life and death. Therefore, you don't need to worry about hurting me. After all, your mere attention is a gift enough for me. You hid in your room last night and cried. I heard it. I felt contempt mixed with pity and annoyance, yet also a thrill in my heart. It shows that you care about me, and this slight concern makes me tremble with excitement, almost desperate to hold you and kiss you. I constantly suppress these pathological, frantic thoughts. An assault of my mind upon you, my sin, so, you don't need to blame yourself. You don't need to, just keep doing what you want to do, whether it's being flamboyant or humble, as long as it's what you want. By the way, to answer a question you always ask, why did I fall in love with you? I've said it many times before. That day, when your father brought you to the door, your brown scarf gently slipped from your shoulders. I saw you. What I mean is, loving you needs no reason. Because it's you, there's never been a reason. And, years after graduation, the high school crush who sat next to me had become a major celebrity. At a class reunion, we met again, but he seemed distant and cold. May I ask who you are? Everyone thought that Pei Wang had forgotten about me. That was until the news of my accidental death reached my best friend, who while sorting through my belongings, stumbled upon love letters Pei Wang had once written to me. Jiang Wei, it's too painful to have a secret crush. I don't want to like you anymore. But further down, there was another line. Never mind, just kidding. That evening, the news of Pei Wang's suicide out of grief made headlines. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the day of the reunion, facing the indifferent Pei Wang. I tentatively took out my phone and sent him a message. The next second, his special ringtone sounded. Pei Wang, 1. I died on a snowy day. While out seeking inspiration, I got lost in the mountains, trapped by the snow, and died of hypothermia. It was a rather undignified death. Upon receiving the news, my best friend Zhou Yuan rushed over overnight, and was gasping for air from crying so hard when she claimed my body. Jiang Wei, how could you just leave me behind like this? Even if Pei Wang has forgotten you, you still have me. My soul floated in midair, awkwardly digging my toes into the ground. If I hadn't already been thoroughly chilled, I would have rushed over to cover her mouth. This girl, even after being told it was an accident, made it sound like I had died of a broken heart. Couldn't she let me keep some dignity in this world? But clearly, Zhou Yuan didn't see it that way. For some reason, she was adamant that my death was connected to Pei Wang and immediately made a call to him. It took a long while for Pei Wang to answer. Hello, a hoarse male voice came through, seemingly just woken from sleep. Zhou Yuan, what do you want? I just finished an overnight shoot. Pei Wang. Zhou Yuan cut him off, her voice mournful. Jiang Wei is dead. After her words, I heard a long silence on the other end of the phone. Even though I was now a ghost, I couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. What would Pei Wang's reaction be to my death? Would he be upset? Or would he think it was just the death of someone insignificant? After all, at the class reunion a few days ago, he had been so cold towards me. Amidst the teasing from others, he had coldly asked, "May I ask who you are?" When he spoke, the air around seemed to freeze, facing his indifferent gaze. The courage I had mustered before leaving home seemed to vanish into thin air. All I managed to mutter was, "No, it's nothing." Then I lowered my eyes and didn't dare to look up again. Actually, it wasn't incomprehensible. He was now a top-tier celebrity, and it had been 6 years since we graduated. It was a good thing he didn't remember me. Otherwise, I always felt like I was letting him down. Pei Wang, didn't you hear me? After a long silence on the phone, Zhou Yuan cried out in questioning. I said Jiang Wei is dead, she's dead. Thud, a heavy sound came from the other end as if something had hit the floor. Pei Wang seemed to clench his teeth, his voice trembling. I don't believe it. The next second, the call was disconnected. Zhou Yuan, crying and angry, took a photo of my death certificate and sent it to him before blocking him. I wanted to comfort her, but my hand passed right through her body. In the end, I could only embrace her gently through the air. Stop crying, silly girl. 5 days after my death, Zhou Yuan brought my ashes back to N City. I didn't have many relatives in China. My only brother, who was on a business trip abroad when he received the news, was now on a plane rushing back. When Zhou Yuan arrived at my home with the ashes, my ragdoll cat had been hungry for 2 days. I had left enough cat food for 3 days, thinking I would be back soon, but I never returned. Zhou Yuan used to visit my place often, and the kitten immediately pounced on her when she opened the door, coaxing her for food. Perhaps the scene evoked emotions, and Zhou Yuan almost cried again. After feeding the cat, it quickly devoured its food. Zhou Yuan then went into the study to start sorting through my belongings. I was a full-time writer and spent more time in my study than in my bedroom. The desk was left just as I had left it, with a photo frame in front of the computer containing a group photo of us friends from high school. In the photo, Zhou Yuan affectionately linked arms with me in the center, while Pei Wang stood on the far right, with people between us. I smiled towards the camera, while Pei Wang's gaze subtly drifted towards me. Now, seeing Pei Wang only irritated Zhou Yuan, she turned to tidy up other things and was about to pick up the photo frame when the cat, having just finished eating, approached. As Zhou Yuan reached for the frame, the cat sprinted forward and swiped at it. The frame fell to the ground, shattering the glass. Startled, Zhou Yuan picked up the cat and then noticed something in the compartment of the frame. Meow. The cat in her arms seemed to realize its mistake and meowed apologetically. Bending down, Zhou Yuan pulled out a letter from the broken frame. Upon opening it, she found a love letter. Not only Zhou Yuan but I too was puzzled. The envelope was yellowed, but the handwriting inside was still sharp. The letter was filled with cryptic yet profound expressions of unrequited love. Jiang Wei, unrequited love is too painful. I don't want to like you anymore. Further down, there was a small line. Never mind, just kidding. Our eyes fell on the signature at the bottom right corner, and both Zhou Yuan and I were stunned. It was signed by Pei Wang, the current top star in the entertainment industry, and the high school desk mate I had secretly loved for many years. I suddenly remembered that this frame was indeed a gift from Pei Wang during our senior year of high school. Over the years, I had moved several times, but this frame had always followed me, sitting beside my computer for many years. Back then, I never imagined that the frame compartment hid this secret. Recalling the last phone call, where Pei Wang, with clenched teeth and a trembling voice, had said, I don't believe it, my heart felt unbearably sour. Do ghosts feel sorrow too? I watched as Zhou Yuan immediately took out her phone to remove Pei Wang from the blacklist, but before she could make the call, a notification popped up on her phone from a trending topic on Weibo. Hashtag Pei Wang suicide hashtag. In the next second, Zhou Yuan almost tremblingly clicked on the trending topic. Then she saw a video posted just minutes ago by a marketing account with millions of followers. The video showed an ambulance parked outside a high-end villa, surrounded by security and staff. The camera then abruptly shifted, and everyone saw a hand dangling from the stretcher, slender and excessively pale. Dark red liquid dripped from the fingertips, splattering on the ground, blossoming like flowers. The headline read, Pei Wang committed suicide by slitting his wrists at home tonight. The content of the suicide note suggests a love martyrdom. Seeing the prominently displayed words love martyrdom on the headline, my mind seemed to lose the ability to think for a moment. No, it shouldn't be like this. It couldn't be like this. How could he die? How could he possibly die? In that instant, countless memories flashed through my mind. Scenes from the past reappeared like a carousel. Finally pausing on that snowy winter day, 17-year-old Pei Wang stood at the bottom of the school building stairs, reaching out his hand to me. Let's agree on that, Jiang Wei, he said, his eyes curved into a smile as he looked at me, his lips slightly lifted in a gentle expression that was almost too tender to be true. In the future, if I become a big star, you'll be my manager. As he finished speaking, a gust of wind swept through, covering the entire world in pure white snowflakes. It all felt like a grand dream. Jiang Wei, I snapped back to reality. What are you daydreaming about? Pei Wang is here, said a concerned Zhou Yuan. I felt a sudden sourness in my eyes. How wonderful. I had actually returned to the day of the alumni reunion. The next second, as I looked up, my eyes met Pei Wang's gaze. In that moment of eye contact, I almost immediately guessed what he was going to say next. Why are you crying? The voice in my memory overlapped with the one I just heard. I looked at him blankly. What? Unlike in the past, Pei Wang didn't ask who I was but instead frowned slightly and repeated in a colder tone, "Why are you crying?" As he spoke, he seemed to subconsciously want to reach out his hand but stopped abruptly upon realizing the surroundings. Then he turned his face away. His frown deepening, I touched my face, only then realizing that tears had fallen. Jiang Wei, Zhou Yuan finally noticed something was wrong. What's the matter? Are you feeling unwell? No, it's nothing. I took a deep breath and hurriedly wiped the tears from my face, pretending to rub my eyes, probably just an eyelash that fell into my eye. It was embarrassing, crying in front of him. Pei Wang must have found it utterly bewildering. I cautiously looked up at him. He was talking to Zhou Yuan. Zhou Yuan, now an editor at a fashion magazine, was the only one among us who had professional contact with Pei Wang, so after my death in a previous life, she was able to get in touch with Pei Wang. The reunion had been organized a month in advance, knowing that Pei Wang would come, and many people showed up today. Even as the dishes were served, many eyes remained on Pei Wang. Some people seemed born to be the center of attention. He just needed to sit there to be the focus of the room. With Zhou Yuan between us, I bowed my head and quietly ate. Seeing him again was already wonderful. In this life, if I don't die, then he won't either. After 3 rounds of drinks, the class monitor came over with a cup of wine, insisting on toasting Pei Wang. Big star, we thought you wouldn't come. You've really honored us this time, he said. Pei Wang smiled and courteously sipped from the cup. The class monitor's gaze then shifted to Zhou Yuan and me, his brow slightly furrowed. You are Jiang Wei. As he spoke, the other classmates who were toasting each other also turned to look. It really is you. Seeing me nod, the class monitor became somewhat excited. When you suddenly transferred schools during our senior year, we lost touch. I thought you wouldn't come to the reunion. Speaking of which, you were classmates with our big star back then. With those words, I distinctly felt Pei Wang's gaze shift to me following his remark. Is that so? I could tell from Pei Wang's tone that he was indifferent, as if my existence barely mattered to him. I've already forgotten. The food in my bowl had grown cold. I chewed and swallowed, my tongue slightly bitter. In the winter of my senior year of high school, I suddenly transferred schools due to family reasons. Just the day before, we were dreaming about the future together, and the next day, I lost all contact. Over the following years, Zhou Yuan was the only one who stayed in touch with me. Her family was well off, and she knew a bit about my family's situation but never brought it up deliberately in front of me. The next summer, Pei Wang burst onto the scene in a talent show, clinching the championship of that season. That summer, his name was everywhere, his familiar face on TV screens in countless homes, and his songs played in the malls I passed by. It seemed that overnight, I went from sharing a desk with him to being just 1 in a million followers on his Weibo, and finally, I could openly admit that I liked Pei Wang. Studying away from home was tough. Several times, I opened Pei Wang's chat window but hesitated for a long time upon seeing the history of our past conversations. Jiang Wei, where are you? Jiang Wei, you're late. Jiang Wei, what happened? Jiang Wei, it's snowing. Remember to bring an umbrella. Further down were dozens of missed calls and countless caring messages. The last message was sent at midnight. 9 hours later. Jiang Wei, I won't wait for you anymore. It was New Year's Eve. We had planned to meet, but I ended up not showing. I typed and deleted and typed in the chat box. Finally, he suddenly called, startled. I saw the caller ID and instinctively answered. The next second, I heard his familiar breathing on the other end. My throat was sore and hoarse. I opened my mouth but didn't know what to say. Jiang Wei. The person on the other end almost gritted his teeth. Speak. What does it mean to be typing all this time? I took a deep breath and whispered, are you doing well? There was a pause in his breathing. I had imagined countless times what it would be like when I reunited with Pei Wang, but in the end, I just heard his indifferent tone across the phone screen. Thanks to you, I'm doing very well. After a long silence, I dryly said, then, I wish you more and more success, a skyrocketing career. Beep. He hung up. I was left staring at the screen, crying and laughing. Later, as I had said, he continued to rise to stardom. That grand yet discreet crush from my youth thus came to a close. The dinner was very lively. Throughout, Zhou Yuan tried several times to signal me with her eyes, all of which I pretended not to see and ignored. I knew that Pei Wang hadn't really forgotten me. After all, He could name every one of the 40-some classmates but was cold only to me. It was hard to say it wasn't intentional, as the gathering was about to end. I stood up to go to the restroom. On my way back, I passed the terrace and ran into Pei Wang, who had stepped out for some air. Seeing me, he casually rolled up his sleeves, revealing his well-defined forearms, and then expertly flicked a cigarette out of the pack. Glancing at me, he bit on the cigarette and asked, "Do you mind?" I shook my head. The heating was cranked up in the private room, and I had taken off my coat as soon as I entered, having been outside for a while now. I sneezed from the cold. Just as Pei Wang was about to light his cigarette, he snapped the lighter shut again. I looked at him, puzzled. What's going on? Not smoking anymore. But I must admit, the scene just now where Pei Wang nonchalantly bit on his cigarette and glanced over with a mature charm was something I had never seen in him before. My gaze returned and I rubbed my arms, about to head back to the room when, Jiang Wei. The voice behind me suddenly called my name. I turned around instinctively, then I saw the man who had been indifferent just moments ago now looking at me with frustration. He almost gritted his teeth as he forced out, "Would you never come to see me if I didn't come looking for you?" I was momentarily stunned and blurted out, "But, you were the one who pretended not to know me first." "Shut up," he glared at me. Oh, I immediately looked down. Seeing this, Pei Wang couldn't help but laugh out of irritation. "Jiang Wei, do you even have a conscience?" What a thing to say. I wanted to whisper a rebuttal, but then thought better of it and let it be. "You are the superstar. You are always right, Pei Wang, ha." He ruffled his hair in annoyance and then turned and strode back to the room. I hurried after him. When I entered, the dinner was just ending. Zhou Yuan, who had been looking for me, saw Pei Wang and me return together and gave us a knowing look. "Yo, did you two go out to catch up? Did Pei Wang remember you?" I thought about it and nodded. Remembered in anger counts, right? Pei Wang snorted coldly beside me, before the gathering dispersed. The class monitor suggested we form a new group chat for easier coordination of future meetups. Since Pei Wang had changed his contact information after becoming famous, the class monitor asked Zhou Yuan to add people to the group. Busy catching up with others, Zhou Yuan casually asked me, "Jiang Wei, can you add Pei Wang's secondary number?" Oh, I took out my phone and scrolled through the contacts. I had added both his primary and secondary numbers a long time ago but hadn't been in touch for years and wasn't sure. I tentatively opened the chat window of Pei Wang's secondary number and before he could react, I quickly sent an emoji. The next second, I heard the sound of a notification from the phone beside me. Pei Wang frantically tried to turn off the screen, but I still caught a glimpse of the word special care flashing across it. Pei Wang, me, what to do? Should I pretend I didn't see it? Before I could think of a way to ease the situation for Pei Wang, Zhou Yuan intervened again. "Perfect, Pei Wang, isn't your manager coming to pick you up? You could give Jiang Wei a ride on the way." Pei Wang immediately frowned, his tone reluctant. "Why should I give her a ride? I've had a drink too, and it's so late. Should she take a taxi home by herself? That would be too pitiful." Pei Wang glanced over at me. I had just put on my coat. And in my eagerness to meet Pei Wang tonight, I forgot it might snow later. I conscientiously fastened the top button but still left a small section of my neck exposed. I was debating whether to hunch my neck or not, considering Pei Wang was still sulking and probably wouldn't care what I was wearing anyway. The next second, Pei Wang casually grabbed the scarf that Zhou Yuan had draped over the chair and swiftly wrapped it around my neck. He was so quick that I barely had time to react before the scarf was snugly covering my face, leaving only my eyes exposed. "There," Pei Wang said after tying a knot and meeting my gaze. I blinked twice. The scarf was tied a bit too tight. I exhaled forcefully, causing my bangs to flutter. Pei Wang seemed like he wanted to laugh but forcefully held it back. "Don't overthink it," he warned me with a stern face. "I'm just worried about paparazzi lurking around. It would be troublesome if they captured your face." Thinking it over, I tried to imitate the tone of sensationalist media. Shocking. Pei Wang's late-night rendezvous with a mysterious girl, possible love affair revealed. "What on earth do you watch every day?" he said, then quickly turned and walked outside. "Keep up, okay." At the underground parking lot, Pei Wang's manager, Brother Zhou, had been waiting for a while. As Pei Wang strode towards the car, Brother Zhou rolled down the window to speak but then saw me, my face tightly wrapped in the scarf, sneaking behind Pei Wang in a half-run. "Manager, what's going on here?" "Just an old classmate, giving a ride along the way," Pei Wang said as he got into the car. I thought about it and then opened the passenger door. On the way back, Brother Zhou tried several times to peer through the tightly wrapped scarf to see my real face but failed each time. He hesitated to speak, again and again. Finally, He asked. Aren't you feeling suffocated? The heater in the car is quite strong. I dare not take it off, afraid of being scolded or having my photo taken and posted online. I admitted honestly. Brother Zhou laughed. So, you and Pei Wang were high school classmates. Was he always so temperamental back then? From the back seat, Pei Wang clicked his tongue in disapproval. I thought for a moment and then said, not really. He was pretty nice in high school. At least to me, he was nice. So what changed his temperament so drastically after graduating high school? Pei Wang snickered from the back seat. I stayed silent, feeling a bit guilty. Even the manager sensed something was off. What's the matter with you, Pei Wang? If you're uncomfortable, just scratch it. Why are you grumbling while I'm chatting with an old friend? Just drop the person off and cut the chatter. Pei Wang's face turned cold again. The manager fell silent and gave me a helpless look. When the car stopped at the entrance of my residential complex, I thanked them and prepared to get out. As soon as I opened the door, the cold air rushed in, with a crystalline chill unfolding at my fingertips. Ah, it's snowing. Cough, cough. From the back seat, Pei Wang suddenly coughed violently. Close the door. Brother Zhou, unsurprised, explained to me. Sorry about that. He had a serious illness before, and he becomes quite fragile in winter. I paused. Then softly advised towards the back seat. With the cold weather, you should probably smoke less if your throat feels uncomfortable. Surprised, the manager responded, what smoking? Pei Wang doesn't smoke. How could he dare to smoke as a public figure? If that got out, he'd be crucified. Pei Wang suddenly kicked the front seat and coughed, his face turning beet red. Shut up, he muttered. I can still tease you. With a bang, the car door closed. I stood there, dazed, watching the back of the car as it drove away. After thinking for a moment, I took out my phone and sent a message to Zhou Yuan. Jiang Wei, how do you comfort an angry boy? Zhou Yuan replied quickly. Zhou Yuan, did you make Pei Wang angry? Jiang Wei, not really. He got angry out of embarrassment after exposing himself. Zhou Yuan, what did he expose? The fact that he has a crush on me. I didn't dare to tell Zhou Yuan directly, so I changed the subject. Jiang Wei, I've thought it over and decided not to go on a trip. Not going on a trip for inspiration also means no accidental deaths. It took a while before Zhou Yuan replied. Zhou Yuan, that's perfect. I'll find something for you to do. The next day, I found out what Zhou Yuan meant by finding something to do. Early in the morning, she rushed to my house, asking me to get ready to take the cat out. Pei Wang's current film crew is short of a cat actor, and I happen to know the producer. He posted on social media asking for help last night. And I immediately thought of your little cat and signed you up. Hee. Since Pei Wang is still mad at you, it means he definitely still cares about you. If you hang around him more, maybe he'll cool down after a while. After saying that, she stepped on the gas and dropped me off at the entrance of the film crew. Alright, I have other things to deal with later. I'll come pick you up tonight. Before I could refuse, she had already left me and the cat with the crew members. Meow. The little kitten cuddled in my arms, showing off its clingy nature typical of a ragdoll. What a cute little cat. The director will definitely be pleased, a crew member praised. Hearing my little one being complimented, I smiled too. But as soon as I walked into the crew, the little tyrant in my arms flipped over and jumped out. I was startled and immediately joined the crew members in chasing the cat. It was the break time, and several actors were sitting on loungers reading scripts. Hearing the commotion, everyone looked over, and upon seeing that the instigator was a small kitten, they all showed affectionate smiles. What a cute little cat. What color of sack does Mimi like? Chomp chomp, come here, sister has some treats. Amidst the noisy scene, the person on the innermost lounger finally woke up. The man reached for the script covering his face, his brows furrowed, about to speak. I'm sorry, the kitten ran off. I ran over, still panting, and finally managed to catch the culprit in front of all the actors. Meow. The little guy still thought I was playing with it and wagged its tail, jumping onto the lounger. Unexpectedly, a slender hand immediately grasped its neck. The next second, I met Pei Wang's gaze, and instinctively shouted, baby, don't grab. Thud, the script in Pei Wang's hand fell to the ground. His eyes widened in shock as he looked at me, his ears turning red in an instant. What did you just call me? The atmosphere suddenly turned somewhat ambiguous, seeing Pei Wang's face turning even redder. I hesitated for a second between embarrassing him and causing a misunderstanding. Yuan Bao, come here. Meow. The kitten heard me calling it, shook its tail, and started to struggle. Seeing that Pei Wang didn't react, the little tyrant threw a cat punch, freed itself from his hand, and jumped into my arms, looking at Pei Wang again. He seemed to be in a daze, still staring at me. I had no choice but to quietly introduce him. this is my cat. Its formal name is Jiang Yuanbao, nickname Baby. Yuanbao blinked its big eyes at the red-faced biped in front of it, its tail waving like a feather duster. And I was thinking about slipping away before Pei Wang could get angry. Well then, if there's nothing else, I'll just as I turned to leave, I was stopped. Jiang Wei. Pei Wang covered his face with his hand. He squeezed out a few words almost forcibly. If it weren't for the people around, I bet he would have exploded the very next second. Don't go. I dared not move again. At that moment, the staff member from earlier finally caught up. Miss Jiang, did you catch the cat? The director wants to see it. I immediately responded, yes, 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 I can't wait to meet the director. After saying that, I walked so fast I didn't dare to look back at Pei Wang. Jiang Yuanbao, the kitten, successfully passed the audition and needed to stay with the crew for a month, playing the male lead's pet cat. When I returned, the break had just ended, and Pei Wang had already gone to shoot. The staff took me around the set, and finally, we went to watch Pei Wang film. Our teacher Pei is really good at acting. You can rest assured with the kitten working with him. I watched Pei Wang, who was filming. The scene was about him reuniting with the female lead after a long separation. Facing his childhood sweetheart he hadn't seen for years, displaying a tender smile. In the frame, Pei Wang looked up at the female lead, about to curve his lips into a smile. Then he saw me standing behind the camera. Cut, the director called. Pei Wang's smile is good, but too flirtatious. Let's try that again. Pei Wang. The smile didn't disappear. It just shifted from Pei Wang's face to mine. The director really pays close attention, even to the smallest facial expressions. I found it amusing and continued to watch with the cat in my arms, until a familiar male voice reached my ears. How about it? This guy looks pretty handsome while filming, doesn't he? I turned around, my smile pausing. I just came to visit the set and saw you here, Qi Yan said with a smile, as the assistant director hurried over upon seeing him. Mr. Qi, it's fine, carry on, Qi Yan said. I've arranged for some afternoon tea to be sent over. Thank you, Mr. Qi. The staff members thanked him. Qi Yan just waved his hand. This drama is your investment? I asked him. Yes, the best team, the best script, all set to promote my golden goose, he said, looking very pleased as he watched Pei Wang acting. This guy has the potential to become a movie emperor. Hearing this, I nodded in agreement. Although he came from a talent show, I had to admit that Pei Wang definitely had a knack for acting. But what about you? Qi Yan turned to look at me. What are you doing here? I lifted the cat in my arms and shook it in front of him. The crew needed a cat, so I brought Yuanbao here to earn some money for cat food. Alright, I'll make sure he's well taken care of, he assured. I laughed. So, you're interested in Pei Wang? Seeing that I kept staring at Pei Wang, Qi Yan asked. Yes, I nodded. I like him and want to pursue him. Qi Yan, he looked at me in shock. But it seems he's still mad at me, looking down. I felt somewhat dejected as I stroked the cat in my arms. Forget it, I'll go back and have my brother increase the investment. Your Highness, do you need me to tie him up and deliver him to your doorstep? I burst out laughing, as Pei Wang finished his scene and eagerly looked around. He couldn't find that familiar figure. Don't look anymore. He left early due to some matters, Qi Yan remarked coolly from the side. President Qi. It was only then that Pei Wang noticed his boss had come to visit the set. You know Jiang Wei, such a lucky guy, Qi Yan mused, eyeing Pei Wang. Even though you're my cash cow, she's the little princess of the Su family, way out of your league. Qi Yan had been childhood friends with Su Qing, so he knew a lot more about the Su family than others might, due to having an older brother as the heir. Qi Yan had grown up relatively freely and was expected to become just another rich second generation without much purpose. However, after graduating from college, Su Qing invested in him to start this entertainment company. Over the years, it had flourished, making stars out of many, including Pei Wang. With Pei Wang's current status in the industry, his word could easily sway many, but Jiang Wei was different. Upon hearing this, Pei Wang frowned slightly. Her surname is Jiang. Having been in the industry for years, he was familiar with the Su family but had never linked Jiang Wei with them. Not to mention, she had never brought it up during their high school days. A Jiang, but part of the Su family. What's wrong with that? Qi Yan asked, now somewhat curious himself. What's your relationship with her? How do you know each other? We were desk mates in high school, Pei Wang said, sounding unexpectedly gloomy. She transferred schools suddenly in our senior year and I haven't seen her since. Senior year? Huh, Qi Yan thought for a moment, then realized, that was the year Mrs. Su fell ill. That was when she was brought back to the Su family. Hearing this, Pei Wang looked sharply at him. What did you say? This involves personal family matters, so it's not really appropriate for me to discuss it directly with you. Qi Yan patted his shoulder. Just know that she's now with the Su family. Pei Wang was silent for a long while before finally speaking slowly. So, she had her own difficulties back then. Qi Yan couldn't help but laugh speechlessly. Did you even listen to what I said? I've never seen such a pure case of being love-struck. The next morning, I walked out of the study, feeling lightheaded. The new article I started yesterday suddenly began to get a lot of traffic, but I had no drafts prepared, facing the editor's urgent requests. I didn't dare tell her I hadn't even outlined the plot, so I hurried home from the set to write all night. I had arranged with the crew to bring the kitten for a screen test this morning. Glancing at the time, I mustered the energy to take a taxi there. Thanks to Qi Yan's parting words yesterday, the crew was noticeably warmer to me today. The kitten was taken to shoot, and I was dying of sleepiness, barely hearing someone calling me. Jiang Wei, come sleep here, okay? Too tired to think why Pei Wang's tone had become so gentle, I walked over and fell asleep on the lounge chair. When I woke up in the afternoon, a long men's down jacket covered me. Awake, Pei Wang's voice was near my ear. I looked up to see him holding Yuan Bao, opening a can of cat food for it. Wait, when did he buy cat food? Yuan Bao, come here to mommy. The kitten heard but ignored me. Pei Wang had not only bought the most expensive cat food but also a large pack of freeze-dried treats, which the kitten was now devouring eagerly. You want me to sing a song for you? His voice carried a mix of amusement and affection, diffusing the awkwardness of my clumsy request. I nodded, still slightly inebriated, feeling the warmth of the alcohol contrast with the chill of the night. Pei Wang adjusted his posture, cleared his throat slightly, and began to sing softly. His voice, usually commanding and assertive, now carried a gentle melody that filled the quiet space of my apartment. As he sang, the earlier tension eased, replaced by a comforting tranquility. The playful and teasing nature we usually shared was set aside, revealing a more tender connection. His song was a simple one, but in that moment, it felt profoundly reassuring. When he finished, he smiled, his eyes reflecting a sincerity that was both disarming and endearing. There, he said, hopefully that will help you sleep better. I couldn't help but smile back, touched by the gesture more than I expected. As he stood up to leave, I felt a pang of disappointment mixed with gratitude. Thank you, Pei Wang, I said, my voice softer than I intended. He nodded, then paused at the door, turning back briefly. Take care of yourself, Jiang Wei, don't make a habit of drinking too much, he added with a light-hearted tone, yet his concern was palpable. As the door closed behind him, I felt a mix of emotions swirling inside me, gratitude, warmth, and a surprising sense of closeness that the night had unexpectedly brought. Do you have any idea how expensive my appearance fee is per minute? My brain was especially slow after drinking, and it took me several seconds to comprehend his words. Looking into his eyes, I slowly responded, it's fine, I have money. Oh, Pei Wang chuckled lightly, I forgot, you're the young lady of the Su family. I looked at him puzzled, curious about how he knew who I was. The young lady's request is something I dare not ignore. He paused, then spoke in a slower, more coaxing tone. But what benefits would I get for singing to the young lady? Tempted by his charm, I said without hesitation, anything you want, as long as I have it, anything. He asked jokingly, can I even ask for an Academy Award? That might be a bit difficult. I was a bit troubled, but it's not impossible. If I go back and beg my brother, he might agree. Pfft. The person across burst into laughter. Never mind, he looked at me with a smile, his tone so tender it was almost uncharacteristic. I was just teasing you. His familiar words suddenly reminded me of the love letter tucked inside the album. I looked at Pei Wang in front of me and suddenly reached out to hold his face. Pei Wang, meeting his puzzled gaze, I murmured softly, can you stop disliking me? Pei Wang initially froze, then his eyelashes quivered. He looked down and remained silent. My heart suddenly felt sour, and I sniffled. That winter night 6 years ago, during New Year's Eve, were you cold, standing alone in the square waiting for me? What were you thinking? Pei Wang remained silent. It took a long while, until I was almost dozing off, for him to finally respond. Yes, it was very cold, he spoke, his voice very soft. So, Jiang Wei, don't leave me in this winter anymore. I didn't respond, already asleep on the couch, but in my dream. Pei Wang didn't leave. Instead, he hummed softly, gently patting me to sleep. His singing was so tender that it unconsciously smoothed my furrowed brows. The last thing I remember was someone leaning close to my ear, whispering, baby, it must have been meant for the cat. The next day, my brain felt like mush from the hangover. When I woke up in bed, I couldn't remember how I got back to my room. There were several unread messages on my phone, from my brother, Zhou Yuan, and also Pei Wang. My brother's message was telling me he would be returning to the country next month. Zhou Yuan was asking why she didn't receive my New Year's greetings first last night, wondering if I didn't love her anymore. As for Pei Wang's, I stared at the message on the screen, suddenly feeling illiterate. Pei Wang, I made you a hangover soup, remember to drink it. I thought about it and tentatively replied to him, Jiang Wei, did I say something wrong again after getting drunk yesterday? Pei Wang responded immediately, Pei Wang, go ahead and drink it, I didn't poison it. Alright then. Feeling reassured, I got up, washed up, and went to heat up the hangover soup to drink. As I sipped the soup, I began responding to unread messages one by one, after selectively ignoring a message from my editor that was disguised as a blessing but was actually nudging me for my draft. I habitually opened Weibo. That's when I saw a post from Pei Wang from 10 hours ago. Late at night, Pei Wang v. Urgent. How do you make delicious hangover soup? Looking at the comments, many fans shared their family recipes for hangover soup, and some were concerned if Pei Wang had drunk too much. Pei Wang replied to one of the top comments that showed concern. No, it's a family member who got drunk. Family, Looking at the bowl of hangover soup in front of me. Suddenly it seemed more than just an ordinary bowl of soup. Damn, I even suspected Pei Wang of poisoning it. I'm really terrible, aren't I? 13. I had agreed to be Pei Wang's part-time assistant, so I continued to report to the set on time every day. Over time, everyone else also learned that Pei Wang and I were old classmates. During breaks, some would even gossip with me. People must have chased after teacher Pei a lot in high school since he's so handsome. Right, I thought about it. Not really. I remember one Valentine's Day, many boys in our class received chocolates, but he didn't get any. He even asked me for some. In the end, I just bought a random piece from the store for him, and he was really happy. Wait, something seems off. I suddenly realized something. Would someone who usually receives love letters frequently not get any chocolates on Valentine's Day? I seemed to have suddenly understood something. Just then, Pei Wang came back from filming. Saw me still chatting with others, and frowned. Aren't you supposed to be assisting me? The water's gone cold. But I just looked at him, my gaze filled with silent accusation. Was the chocolate I bought on a whim tasty on that Valentine's Day in our first year of high school? Pei Wang, and where did you hide the other chocolates that people gave you? I suddenly feel that not everything should trouble an assistant, it's just hot water. I'll get it myself. After saying that, Pei Wang turned around to get the hot water. Meanwhile, I watched his retreating figure, feeling somewhat amused. So it was that early, 14, on the day the filming wrapped up. My novel also just happened to conclude. Over the months, I had gained a lot, and the novel's data exploded in popularity after its conclusion. My editor told me that many people had approached her wanting to buy the rights, and she was in the process of screening them. On the day of the wrap-up party, I went with Pei Wang. As the year was drawing to a close, Qi Yan, although busy, also made it in person. However, I didn't expect my brother to come with him. Upon seeing Su Qing, I instinctively restrained the smile on my face and respectfully called out, "Brother." Su Qing responded, then his gaze fell on Pei Wang standing next to me, and he frowned slightly. Seeing this, Pei Wang clearly became a bit nervous. Mr. Su, hello. I'm Pei Wang, Su Qing nodded slightly, acknowledging him. He was always reserved. 6 years ago, on that afternoon when he first knocked on my door, it was the same. As I was about to head out, I was startled to see Su Qing and his bodyguard standing behind him when I opened the door. Who are you looking for? Who has come? Curious as to why I hadn't made a sound for a long time, my mother came out of the kitchen to check on me. Her gaze froze when it landed on Su Qing's face. Hello, I'm Su Qing. The man glanced around the room's interior, his eyes finally resting on my face, which bore a slight resemblance to his own. His expression flickered briefly. Grandmother is seriously ill. She wants to see you and your mother. As he spoke, I saw my mother's face turn pale, her expression turning sour. Eventually, she nodded. All right, I'll get ready. Thus, the plans I had to go out were abruptly changed, and I was taken back to the old Su family mansion. There, I learned about my origins from Su Qing, my half-brother from the same father. It wasn't as my mother had told me, that my biological father had passed away early, nor was it a mix-up like in the novels. My biological father was the only son of the wealthy Su family, and I was the result of his affair during his marriage. I was the proverbial illegitimate daughter, a being shrouded in secrecy. After following his family's arrangements for a business marriage, Su Qing's parents' relationship cooled off within a few years. During a long business trip, my father had pretended to be single and dated my mother, which led to my birth. When my mother wanted to discuss marriage with him, she realized she had been deceived. With the Su family's significant influence, ordinary people couldn't possibly contend, and given my father's status, no one would believe she had been deceived. Eventually, due to her poor health making an abortion life-threatening, my mother was forced to give birth to me and chose to raise me alone. It was a cliché story, with the man responsible disappearing without a trace. When I was brought to the Su family home, I realized in my hurry I had forgotten my phone. Although the house was well heated, I sat outside the hospital room feeling a chill in my hands and feet. My mind seemed to stop working at that moment, merely absorbing information from the surroundings passively. I met my biological father and his wife. Su Cheng's mother was a beautiful woman. Facing her, my mother instinctively felt guilty and at a loss. Mrs. Su, her eyes reddened, unsure of what to say, but Mrs. Su only smiled gently, taking her hand. It's okay, I know it's not your fault, I don't blame you. She then turned to look at me. This young girl really resembles our Chen, just like grandmother. She didn't say I looked like my biological father, only that I resembled my brother and grandmother. Beside us, my father frowned as if he wanted to object. The next moment, Su Cheng opened the door, and my father immediately quieted down. Grandmother wants to see you, said Su Cheng. So I met my biological grandmother as well. I had only seen this woman in magazines and newspapers before, knowing she had built her own business empire and that public opinion about her was mixed, often focusing on her romantic history. Society always seems particularly harsh on women. It seemed that to outsiders. How she made her money wasn't as important as the insinuations that a woman's rise couldn't be without the involvement of men. But the moment I saw her, I knew she was not as the outside world portrayed her, because the look she gave me was so tender. She lay there weakly in the hospital bed, yet she was apologizing to my mother. I'm sorry, I didn't raise my son well, which caused you so much suffering. It must have been hard raising a child on your own, wasn't it, as a mother? You are strong and brave. In just a few sentences, seeing her tears fall directly brought a heavy silence. For many years, she had been plagued by guilt and regret, believing that she had destroyed another family, yet no one had ever spoken these words to her. What is your name? The elderly lady asked me softly. Jiang Wei, I replied. That's a good name. The old lady smiled. Your mother has raised you well. After saying this, the elderly woman was visibly weak but still mustered the strength to speak to Su Cheng standing beside her. Ah Cheng, remember, this is your sister. Your father is useless. The company will eventually fail under his management, so I've already prepared my will in advance. After my death, the company and shares will belong to you, and you can run the household. But the real estate and stores in my name, along with all my jewelry, will go to Jiang Wei. You have no objections, right? I have no objections. Grandma, Su Cheng, who was raised by his grandmother, never contradicted her. Only Su's father, standing to the side, dared not speak his anger until he burst out after leaving the hospital room. What does mother mean by this? I am her biological son. Why does everything go to the grandchildren? Shut up, you still have the cheek to ask why. Su's wife didn't hide her disdain and disgust. Marrying you was truly my bad luck. If you weren't Ah Cheng's biological father, even glancing at you would be bad luck. After saying this, she turned her head to look at me. It was very nice to meet you today, little Jiang Wei. If you need anything, just talk to your aunt and brother. Oh, okay, I replied, stunned as I watched the scene unfold, feeling that this wealthy family was not quite as I had imagined, with his wife not supporting him. Su's father turned to look at my mother. Seeing that my mother also didn't want to engage with him, he exploded. Why do you look down on me too? Eventually, it was Su Cheng who walked out of the hospital room, and with one look, Su's father immediately fell silent. Then, Su Cheng took me to a medical facility owned by the Su family for a paternity test. Seeing that I hadn't spoken throughout, Su Cheng glanced at me. Don't be nervous, the inheritance you are about to receive is no small sum. It's just routine. I numbly nodded my head. The wait was long, and even though Su Cheng had expedited the process, it felt like an eternity. Finally, when the fresh paternity test results were delivered to Su Cheng, he finally put down the document he was viewing on his tablet and walked over to me. Let me introduce myself again. Hello, Jiang Wei. I am Su Cheng. He looked down at me. Your half-brother sharing the same father. Regaining my senses, I heard Su Cheng asking me. I heard your novel is a hit. Are you interested in selling the rights? Whoa, little sister is quite impressive, Chi Yen said interestedly as he raised an eyebrow. What's the name of the novel? I'll have my people follow up when I get back. price is not a problem, it's more reassuring for us to buy and adapt it ourselves. In just a few words, it seemed that the matter was settled. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Pei Wang's gloomy expression and felt a tightness in my chest. I do want to sell the rights, but I would like Pei Wang to play my male lead, is that okay? At this, Pei Wang looked at me in surprise. Su Chung subtly furrowed his brow, while Qi Yan laughed. Of course, that's fine. Then someone came to greet him, and Qi Yan raised his glass to mingle. The scene left me, Pei Wang, and my brother exchanging glances. Finally, it was Su Chung who broke the silence. He looked at Pei Wang and asked, "Shall we talk?" Pei Wang nodded and said, "Yeah, me. Did anyone ask for my opinion?" But I didn't dare to contradict my brother, so I could only watch helplessly as they left. Turning to my brother's assistant, "Do you think my brother will just hand over a check when he arrives?" The assistant pondered for a moment. "The president doesn't usually do that." "Oh, that's good then." I had no idea what they discussed, but after that day, Pei Wang went quiet for a while, and even stopped arranging assistant work for me, until one night. A month later, Pei Wang and I suddenly became the subject of a trending topic. Somehow, someone had captured the scene of Pei Wang dropping me home that night. Even the headline was nearly identical to the nonsense I had previously made up. Hashtag Pei Wang's late night secret meeting with mysterious woman. Suspected romance exposed. Hashtag. Pei Wang was at the peak of his popularity, his last drama having just wrapped up. This trend shot straight into the top 3 immediately. Casual fans and major gossip accounts began spreading rumors, and in no time, Pei Wang became the target of public scrutiny. However, before the uproar could escalate, someone noticed the trending topic quickly losing heat, with many related entries disappearing in an instant. At that moment, Pei Wang's management company issued a legally stamped cease and desist letter. The astute onlookers realized something was amiss. What's going on? The heat dropped so quickly. Could it be the work of big capital? Insider news. The woman's background is not simple. Can't say more. Alright, Pei Wang, you've really climbed high now. So, is the romance rumor true or not? I'd say it's highly likely true. Upon seeing the trending topic, Zhou Yuan immediately called me. What's going on? Are you and Pei Wang together? No, I was really anxious now. Although I knew Pei Wang had taken me home that night, I hadn't expected to be photographed. If Pei Wang got into trouble because of me, it would be a terrible sin, no matter the cost. The trending topic had to be taken down. I was about to call Qi Yan when Pei Wang suddenly messaged me. Pei Wang, Jiang Wei, don't worry, I'll handle it. But I was even more worried about his future, and quickly typed a response. Jiang Wei, don't be rash, it's okay for me to be discussed a bit. Really? Pei Wang didn't reply. Minutes later, Zhou Yuan sent me a 10-second voice message of her screaming, quick. Check Pei Wang's Weibo. Instinctively, I opened Weibo, but the app was so overloaded it nearly crashed. 10 minutes later, when I finally logged in, Pei Wang's post had already blown up, because Pei Wang had shared our photo taken in front of the computer and openly responded, Pei Wang V, she is the one I've secretly adored since my youth, the one for whom I've striven so hard. Reading this post, I felt like a bottle of peach soda that had been shaken, bubbles of excitement bursting within me. At that moment, I remembered the love letter that had yellowed with age. Years later, the love I couldn't voice before was now proudly declared under the sunlight. Ding, a message from Pei Wang popped up on my phone. Pei Wang, come downstairs. I almost leapt from my bed, threw on a down jacket over my pajamas, and rushed out the door. Only once outside did I realize it had begun to snow. Pei Wang, who had just been trending online, was now standing right before me in the flesh. I wanted to rush up and embrace him, but feared being photographed again, so I had to sneak over, constantly looking around as I approached. You, why did you come? It's so risky. Before I could finish, Pei Wang had already embraced me. Why sneak around? He said. I've already made it public. No need to hide anymore. Am I really that unbearable to look at? Oh, you should be more mindful of your actions. Don't get too handsy. I struggled a few times, but seeing that I couldn't break free, I was forced to just enjoy it. I buried my head in his chest and muttered gloomily, you know, I'm a fan of your career. Pei Wang raised an eyebrow. I thought you were just a fan of my looks. Am I that shallow? Oh, then who is it that has my photo in the most prominent place in the study? I lifted my head from his chest, feeling a bit embarrassed. Why did you go through my house without my permission? Some drunkard passed out on the sofa and never woke up. I had to at least get her to her room. How would I know which one was the bedroom and which was the study without looking? I couldn't argue. He had a point. Alright. You've seen me now, and you have work tomorrow, right? You should head back. having been Pei Wang's part-time assistant for a while, I was well versed in his schedule. Pei Wang, are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me? I shook my head. Fine, then I'm leaving. Pei Wang seemed upset again, though he said he was leaving. He moved incredibly slowly, making small gestures every 3 steps and turning back dramatically every 5 steps, and there I was, just watching his antics. As expected, Pei Wang, not getting the response he hoped for, stormed off in a fit. Jiang Wei, if you don't stop me, I'm really going to leave. I thought for a moment. Pei Wang, are you acting coy? Pei Wang didn't respond, his face turning red. Well, what could I do? Pei Wang, my cat can do backflips. Want to come and see? Pei Wang hurried back in a few strides. Let's go. I can't wait to see our Yuan Bao do a backflip. A year later, the first television adaptation of my debut novel began filming. Pei Wang played the male lead, after the drama aired. What exploded in popularity before the plot was actually the theme song. The theme song of the drama, Confession Letter, composed and written by Pei Wang himself, swept through all major apps that summer, becoming a viral background music. Everyone knew that this song was written by Pei Wang for a girl he had a crush on at 18. That year, there was a popular post online, to forget someone. Do you forget their voice or their face first? The top reply was, neither. You forget their flaws first, but all I remember are your good qualities, Pei Wang said with a helpless smile. So, at 18, he wrote this song, remembering you bowing your head to right, the handwriting on your test papers so beautiful, remembering you napping on the desk, your heartbeat audible even over your breathing, remembering every strand of your hair flying as you ran across the playground. I guess that's what having a crush is all about. I remember all your looks, partaking in every moment of your youth. In the end, I could only stand afar in the crowd, listening to you wish me a smooth future. My debut novel's TV adaptation exploded in popularity with the boost from Confession Letter. Everyone knew that the original author was the girl Pei Wang had a crush on at 18. At the celebration party, fans jokingly said Pei Wang had finally climbed a high branch. To this, Pei Wang took it as a compliment rather than shame. After all, I really did aspire to reach for the stars. I laughed at his words. Miss, oh no, I should say, esteemed author now. Pei Wang smiled at me, suddenly pulling out a ring and dropping to one knee. Would you give me this chance? After the shock, with tears in my eyes and hand over my mouth, I extended my hand to him. It depends on how you perform. Just kidding. In fact, from the moment I saw that love letter, I had imagined that this day might come. End of main text. Extra chapter. Su Qing. The day Pei Wang won the Best Actor award, Qi Yan was the happiest person. You've always had an eye for talent, he said. He rushed to Su Qing's office, so excited he nearly bowed down in gratitude. I was hesitant when you first recommended him to me, but now it seems I was blind not to see the goldmine right in front of me. Su Qing put down the documents he was holding and, uncharacteristically, smiled. Our little sister is doing us proud, too. Her first novel adapted into a TV drama was a huge hit. Does your family have some kind of money-making gene? This reminded Qi Yan of something. I remember back when you were a melodramatic teenager, you used to say you wanted to be a writer. Su Qing. Then in high school, when a group of girls were fawning over how handsome you were, you said you wanted to debut as an idol. Su Qing. Ah, how merciless the years are, turning you into the cool and aloof CEO. This time, Su Qing really felt a headache coming on. Having a childhood friend like this was a mixed blessing. He knew all your embarrassing history. You know my family's situation, Su Qing said calmly. Circumstances didn't allow it. Su family had only him as the heir, raised by his grandmother and mother. He had many immature dreams in his youth, and both women never skimped on their praises, growing up surrounded by the love of these women. He had to mature quickly upon learning that his parents had long been estranged and that he had a half-sister. Really, with your family's situation, any other rich second generation would not have been so tolerant towards a half-sibling. You are an exception, Qi Yan remarked. It's not their fault, Su Qing said softly. Being raised by two women, he knew the struggles they faced. Even someone as legendary as his grandmother was often talked about more for her romantic entanglements than her accomplishments. He didn't want his sister to go through the same. When their grandmother passed away, the Su family faced internal and external threats. Relatives were eyeing their wealth, and he had to protect his sister Jiang Wei by arranging for her transfer to another school. Later, when he learned she wanted to be a writer, he supported her fully. After all, she was his only sister. Speaking of which, what did you and Pei Wang talk about in private? Hearing this, Su Qing recalled the conversation and couldn't help but laugh. What did we talk about? I told him that Jiang Wei is the only girl in the Su family generation, and the dowry prepared for her is quite substantial. And then, did you ask him to prepare an equally substantial bride price? Qi Yan was already calculating how much Pei Wang had earned over the years, but no matter how much. How could it compare to the Su family's wealth? To this, Su Qing just chuckled. No, I asked him to marry into our family. What? Qi Yan was stunned, then he agreed without hesitation. Truly a hopeless romantic. Extra chapter. Pei Wang. 1. Jiang Wei transferred schools. Pei Wang heard the news while lying in bed with a high fever, on New Year's Eve. He was alone in the square, waiting from day until dark, until he finally sent Jiang Wei that message in frustration. Jiang Wei, I'm not waiting anymore. At that time, he thought she had just missed their appointment due to some last-minute issue, but he never expected that the next time he heard news of her, she had transferred schools. Just the day before, they had been dreaming about the future together, and Jiang Wei had even promised to be his agent someday. Little liar. Pei Wang had just finished an overnight shoot when he received an invitation to a class reunion. He had been incredibly busy during that period. Initially, he wanted to decline as he usually did, but after receiving a message from Zhou Yuan saying that Jiang Wei would also be there, he fell silent. After much hesitation, he finally asked for half a day off from the crew. The reason? To attend a high school reunion. Upon seeing Jiang Wei for the first time in a while, he intended to act indifferent and ask who she was. However, the moment he saw her tears, his heart clenched painfully. Why are you crying? As he asked, he instinctively reached out to wipe her tears but stopped himself, remembering the setting they were in. Damn it, hadn't he agreed to at least give her the cold shoulder for a bit? How could he lose his resolve the moment he saw her? Pathetic. When dinner was nearly over, Jiang Wei stepped out, and he immediately followed her. So, when Jiang Wei emerged from the restroom, she found him with his sleeves rolled up, showing off his forearms, a cigarette in his mouth, and a mischievous look on his face. He had practiced this look countless times in front of a mirror for a role, knowing it made him look his coolest. Sure enough, Jiang Wei looked at him with a hint of admiration. The next second, she sneezed. Pei Wang. Seeing her about to go back inside, Pei Wang grew anxious. Jiang Wei, if I don't come looking for you, would you never take the initiative to find me? Jiang Wei was momentarily stunned. But, you were the one who pretended not to know me first. Yet, he just couldn't accept it. He couldn't bear the thought of being the only one trapped in those memories. Jiang Wei, do you even have a conscience? If you had even a shred of conscience, you would feel indebted to me, even just a little. Please. He couldn't bring himself to say the rest and, frustrated, he ruffled his hair and strode back to the private room. Jiang Wei, wrapped up in a scarf, looked adorable, watching her exhale sharply, her bangs blowing straight up. He almost couldn't suppress his laughter. He managed to hold it back. Was he such a soft-hearted person? On the ride back, listening to Zhou Ge and Jiang Wei chatting in the front, he couldn't help but hum and haw, until Zhou Ge got annoyed. Pei Wang, what's the matter with you? If you're uncomfortable, just scratch it. I'm trying to have a conversation here. Who are you humming and hawing for? After that, through the rearview mirror, he saw Jiang Wei slightly lift the corners of her mouth. She was amused by him being scolded. That made him unhappy again. When Jiang Wei got off, it just started to snow. A cold wind blew in, and he instinctively began to cough. After a severe illness years ago, his body became particularly vulnerable in winter. Initially, it was just a couple of coughs. But seeing Jiang Wei look somewhat distressed, he coughed harder. Then he heard Jiang Wei say, it's cold recently. If your throat is uncomfortable, maybe smoke less. Zhou Ge, the big fool, immediately debunked him. What smoking? Pei Wang doesn't smoke. He's a public figure. How dare he smoke? If he gets caught, he'd be crucified. He kicked the front seat hard, his face red from coughing and partly from frustration. Shut up. I could smoke you. Thinking he had put on a big act, he didn't expect to have exposed himself instead. Jiang Wei had adopted a cat, named Baby. Pei Wang had never been so embarrassed in his life. Would Jiang Wei think he was being presumptuous? But who asked her to call out Baby in front of him? If the kitten's nickname was Baby, why shouldn't she call it? After much internal struggle, he finally called his assistant. Go, buy some canned cat food and freeze-dried treats. The best ones. The cat was great. It would be even better if it recognized him as its dad. Then, through Qi Yan, he learned of Jiang Wei's true identity, a wealthy family's illegitimate daughter, a possibility he had never considered before. So, did she have her own difficulties from the beginning? Pei Wang suddenly felt deflated. What was he doing? He sulked on his own, never considering that she might have had her reasons too. The night he drove Jiang Wei home, He admitted he had his own selfish reasons, yet when Jiang Wei asked him, he remained silent for a long time. Was it very cold that New Year's Eve 6 years ago? He then tried hard to recall that snowy New Year's Eve 6